had a popularity. It was short, but there was a time when he was very popular. Now he's recently back in the news due to some sexual assault allegations that have came up.
Mm-hmm.
Nerdman, since this is technically your thing, I kind of want to let you start it off and kick it off with.
Well, okay. I mean, I can share, for instance, just an article with you. I was trying to search for an article that shows the full allegations, um, because there's a lot of ones that say facing new allegations. You know, once you become part of the news cycle, it's like now you're facing new allegations. Um, uh, it's not just the old ones. You know exactly what happened to um, your boy. What's it called from the MCU?
Uh, oh,
Jonathan
oh,
Majors.
Kang.
Jonathan Majors, right? He comes out.
My mic better?
Uh,
Yes,
someone
man.
accuses him. It's clearly now we're seeing it's most likely false. Yet 10 other women apparently claimed, you know, he'd done something. He'd, you know, been abusive. And I'm so fed up of. Look, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna just make clear. I don't know what happened. I, as always, believe in due process and all of that kind of stuff, innocent until proven guilty. I think that is the standard the law sets up. I think, you know, that trial by media is bullshit, and it needs to be stopped. I was thinking about it today that when you look at what's, and I'll go into the accusations of what's happened to Russell Brand. When you look at what's happened to people like Russell Brand, and you know, it's even worse than Jonathan Majors in some ways because at least that was a legal situation. Like he was actually taken to the police, right, and charged with something. Even though he hadn't been convicted of that thing, at least he'd been charged with that thing when, you know, people started to back away from him. Whereas this one, essentially, um, a newspaper has come out, accused Russell Brand of some things, and he's immediately been dropped from everything. His management team, his agents, YouTube has demonetized him. All of these things, and think
Right.
about what that means. That means basically anyone, like that's the equivalent of somebody just saying, me just saying Onzo touched my ding when I was like 5 years old,
Don't
right?
put me
I
in
can
that,
put
bro.
that out there, and then
Well, but,
Onzo
well, real quick.
gets like taken off everything, you know, fired from his job. That's not how the world works.
Well,
So I
real
just
quick,
think to
because I
with
did
that,
want
but I
to.
want to go into the allegations. Go.
Well, I did want to add into it. So I did watch his two. I watched the video you sent us of him and his interactions. I seen his two recent videos on his channel that was titled "So," and he talked about how he was putting he was going to do content like link streams and stuff on Rumble since he's getting paid there. But they when they demonetized him, when I heard about it, I was like, wow. And the reason I said that was because I remember a long time ago on this app when, for example, someone like PewDiePie, openly said, the N word, didn't get demonetized or nothing. Um, Logan Paul showed a dead body on this platform. He still gets to, you know, frequent the platform, produce content on here. His other channel got demonetized, but his podcast channel, he's getting paid off of that. So even though he showed a dead body on YouTube and posted it, he literally still gets to frequent the platform, even though that's not something you can do on the platform. Show like real dead bodies like that in that way, unless it's something educational, which it wasn't. He was walking around in the suicide forest in Japan, but it's like, wow. And now you're demonetized. Now people are going to get demonetized just for allegations. If this was going to start a trend, if I don't know how far this is going to go, but it seems like this is going to be a case. And Russell
But
Brand, I think,
imagine that. I mean, imagine the implications of what they're saying,
yeah,
because we think, oh, well, it's the media doing it. But that's just the media just represents a private individual's interests. A private individual's opinions, right? So this private organization, right, has an opinion on him. That's all it is. It's an opinion on a person. So that means if you can do that through media, then you could do that through social media. You could just say, well, I'm going to start some shit about someone on social media. And if that somehow gains traction enough, then you can just go, okay, well, that person's off, and it's affecting celebrities now. But actually, I do believe it's a rather dangerous slope we're slipping down. But there are other things I want to say about Russell Brand that are a little bit not negative towards him, but something that I've kind of been thinking about, because I've never been a fan of Russell Brand, but I like the guy, and I think I understand where he's coming from and who he is. And I think given some context, like given some context, basically, some of the accusations that are going against him are things that are not. It's like stuff that was appropriate then, and people are judging him for stuff. You're on mute, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
People are judging him for what was appropriate then, and that's the main thing I want to discuss once we get to just inform people of the accusations. I'm trying to find like a list of them now.
Well, let me, because I'm glad you framed it like that, back then, because this is the thing, and to be fair, it's a certain privilege that, and I'm not talking about white privilege. I'm talking about like that pretty privilege, right? Because let's be real, I seen the video, right? I saw the video, 7-minute video. Today, some person, a young person or whatever, growing up in this climate would look at it as, oh my gosh, he's being so handsy and stuff. He's not respecting her personal space, and they would call it harassment. Now, right? Maybe those girls in that video were probably uncomfortable. I don't know. Some of them probably were. Some of them probably was like down with it, right? I don't know. But at the time, that stuff was okay. But even then, I'm trying to make it a specific women thing, because even dudes can get away with this. There's still celebrities that still do that on, interviews and stuff, like getting handsy and stuff with the interviewer and stuff, and the female interviewer entertaining it, or vice versa. It doesn't happen like that as much, but it still happens because
life. That shit used to happen in real life. That shit used to happen in clubs. I used to know guys who essentially look, because I'm still cooking, by the way. You started a little bit too early. But maybe with Unzo reacting to that video and saying what he thinks of some of the interactions. And I want Unzo, like, maybe you can think about it in terms of you go into clubs in like the 90s and early 2000s, and how like certain men were with women, right? Like, it's, especially with drugs involved, with alcohol and booze involved, how women were with men, not just how men were with women, but how women were with men. And look at it in the frame of
believe it or not, it's still a lot of women like that. It's just that, now, to be fair, there's a lot of dudes that take advantage of that stuff and take it too far. But it's still a lot of women that like really be down with, a lot of dudes like, doing that type of stuff, right? But when it starts to go too far, then they will say it's like, oh, you're assaulting me. When it may not be that. I'm not saying Russell. I don't know if Russell Brand did.
Not only that, it's if they don't like the guy,
right?
As well.
That's the only way. That's the only way there's an issue. If the woman likes the guy, then he can pretty much get away with anything. You understand? Well, not anything, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean?
Not
Making
anything,
them
but like,
right,
yeah, I know
but
what
making
you're saying.
them kind of comments, grabbing her hand, hey babe, what's up? Putting her arm around her, stuff like that. Now, if she don't like you, then that's an issue, right? But it's always about how they feel about you as well. You know what I mean? Now, the video, again, I mean, it's not the first time we've seen stuff like that. So I didn't really, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. I can understand why it wouldn't fly today. But back in those days, man, you would flirt with the reporters. You know what I mean? You would flirt with them.
I
Some of them,
see. I don't think it's appropriate in a professional thing, to be honest. Like when it comes to being
bruh,
professional,
bruh.
I think that kind of, I think it crosses. Look, to be quite honest, I'm kind of happy that women hopefully feel that that's kind of offensive behavior these days, because like just some Jack the
But that's the
Lad
thing, though.
coming up to them,
It's not offensive
doing all of
behavior,
that
though,
thing.
nerd man.
I always thought that
But
was
nerd
kind
man,
of
that's the thing.
inappropriate. But you,
It's selective anger because, like I just said, if the girl likes you, right, even if it's a reporter and the reporter likes you, she thinks you're handsome or whatever, and you make them kind of comments like, "Hey, baby, good," she ain't gonna say nothing. It's if they
mm,
don't find you attractive or they're not issue with you, then it's like, oh well, that's offensive and this and that. It's just it makes no sense, bro. That's the problem I have with it. It's a
Well, and see this why like I don't agree. I don't agree. I don't disagree with either of y'all points. 'Cause I'm like this, right? Yeah, just for the sake of professionalism, it's best not to do it. But then it's like the people that they're doing this to, they pick and choose so much with like who they're going to allow to do that.
Mhm.
It's prime example. It's the oldest test in the book. If you go to if you go to a club party, whatever, house party or whatever, and you just hang with your boys and stuff, and the girls start dancing. What you do is if you go, right behind them, and if they keep dancing and they look
You're
back at
good.
you and go like you a handsome dude, you good.
You're
But
good.
if they
Yeah,
look
yeah,
back at you and you ugly, it's time to leave the
yeah,
party.
yeah.
You're ugly. You gotta go. You're ugly. It's basically that shit. Like,
Like you can't tell me you never went to a party, seen a guy try to holler at a girl. She'd be like, "Nah," and then 2 minutes later, she's dancing with someone else.
right. Which and to be fair, she has a right to pick and choose
Of
if she
course,
wanted to have chances to do it or not. But
of
like people,
course.
but I notice when people are in these situations, just like that, these reporters and stuff, they get very selective. Like that. Like I guarantee, if it was Jonah Hill, right? Not just picking up specifically, like
Hmm.
Jonah Hill, man, they wouldn't let that shit fly. If it was freaking shit, what's some ugly celebrity? Mickey Rourke. Oh hell no, they not letting nothing fly with him. Mickey Rourke is hideous. I don't blame him. But if it was like Leo doing that, oh yeah, they all for it.
And you
Am I
know what?
saying
And to be honest with you, I'm not even gonna say that the reporter or anything like has to be like attracted to him. She just has to
right, right,
like
right.
him. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like let's say, for example, and I'm using this one. I know he's dead. You guys might not know, but let's say like John Candy. You know what I mean? I use him because not very that attractive, but he's a funny guy. If he goes to a reporter, he's getting reported by a girl that just idolizes him. Oh, you're so funny and this and that. You know what I mean? Anything he says, she's gonna take it as a joke, laugh it off, ha ha ha. Oh, the greatest interview I ever had in my life. I just got to interview John Candy. May not be any sexual tension there, but just the fact that she likes him, it's
Yep.
gonna be totally different. You know what I mean?
And that's just typically how it is for the most part. Like I said, it's that privilege of looking handsome to somebody or looking pretty, and just keeping yourself well kept.
Hmm.
You're going to get some places like that, right? But a lot of people don't have the privilege to pull that off, so they got to do other things, like for example, be talented at something to really win people over, right? But no, I'm not using this as no justification for any potential allegations that happen. It's just that I don't think he should have been demonetized for any allegations until you can at least prove, that the person did it. And if they wanted to boot him off the platform, okay. but we should wait until these people are actually considered innocent or guilty, because especially these celebrities, they can actually sue. Like a regular person could sue, but these celebrities got the money to fight back against these corporations. Now, it's not to say they're going to win, but they're more willing to go to court with these corporations than, let's say, the average person. That's why these companies can get away with fucking over the average person, because the average person is not going to push back and fight them in court. They already know it's in their favor. Like no average Joe on YouTube who gets your channel demonetized is not going to waste time taking them to court, because most of us don't have the money to last out with these corporations in court. But with these celebrities, that's a totally different ballpark. Some of them actually have the money. Some of them are millionaires and stuff to actually push back.
Here's my problem, and I have this problem, and I've always had this problem. I have it with Bill Cosby, have it with all these guys. You coming out 20 years later.
It's live, RJ.
I can't take that, man, bro. It's like, why are you coming out 20 years later? I get it. You know what I mean? Oh, maybe they're worried about their career and stuff like that. But first off, this Russell Brand guy was never one of those big, huge guys in Hollywood that you ever had to fear that you would lose a career or whatever happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like definitely not Russell Brand. He's one of, mind you, and that's what I said earlier, his like little piece of fame was like short.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like maybe 2 years or stuff. He had like a good run, but after that, Get Him to the Greek, he was like irrelevant for the most part.
Absolutely.
As far as his celebrity status.
Absolutely, 100%. You know what I mean? And it's just like, and then we see a pattern, right? And if you look at all the cases, there's always a pattern. One person comes out, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh, wait, we got a whole bunch of other people that are coming out and saying this and saying that. Jonathan Majors, right? This one woman came out. Then they put out an article saying that, oh, they're interviewing other victims. Well, where the hell are these other victims?
So I want to talk about, like, I still have to go back because, like, there's something I'm cooking. But
yeah. The whooping chain, ball and chain, we get it.
Did anybody see the documentary?
I was able to
get to watch it.
I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I read through some of the article. I actually have it up if you want to go through it.
Oh, okay. If you've got what? An article?
Remember the article you sent us of the review of the documentary?
Oh, who was that? Not the Ben Shapiro one.
No. It's a written article. It's the one you sent us, right?
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, man. Go through it because maybe they've got all the information. Like I was gonna say, like I remember that there's 3 allegations against him. Basically, one which is the R word, and the details of that were like that some woman he knew. Who he had a relationship with, came to his house one night, and apparently he was telling her that, come over because I'm sad and I need some company and blah, blah, blah. So she came over and he had another woman in the bed, apparently, and wanted to have some kind of 3-way with her. And she refused. And then he apparently then pinned her up against the wall, and she said he had some scary look in his eyes or whatever. He pinned her up against the wall and did whatever. No condom as well, which she said she always had with a condom or sex with a condom. Wait a second.
I'll say this about this Russell Brand guy, because I'll be honest with you, he does look like the type that would probably be a sexual deviant that sleeps around with a lot of these, and mind you, let's be real, a lot of these celebrities and rich people are sexual deviants. It is just what it is. A lot of people are. But I think he's one of the few that he looks like those people that have sex cults. Like that's just me. I feel like he's that type of person that would have a sex cult. You know, you see what he looks like. I'm not saying he does. I'm not saying it's bad to have a sex cult as long as it's consensual, right? But he just looks like the type that would have one.
That's the picture they put up there. That's what they do.
Historical.
They put those kind of pictures up there to make him look like he's a sexual deviant. You know what I mean? That's what they did.
The man admits to being a sexual deviant, and this is the problem. So what I was saying is that she was pinned up against the wall and blah blah blah, but then she actually supposedly reported this immediately after, and this is the kind of evidence I like. This is the kind of evidence I think is good, and this is why I don't dismiss the documentary just out of hand. This woman apparently reported this immediately. She went to an R clinic. There's kind of notes on this. She also has a text from Russell Brand, of him apologizing about his behavior and so forth. So that's the kind of evidence I really like. That's not years later and everything like that. It's like I did it at the time, I reported it at the time, but then she says, "Oh, I didn't want to go forward because I didn't want my name dragged through the mud. I didn't want all of these kind of things happening." And on one level, I'm like, that's bullshit, because now you're making it so that other women will possibly be victimized by this guy if you don't report it. But on the other hand, I'm like, say what you will about Amber Heard, right? No matter what you want to say about her, she was absolutely annihilated, not on on a personal sense, not like what you did was wrong, but you're a bitch, death threats, even before the court case had expired or finished, right? Like, so there is a penalty to be paid for women who come out and make these kind of accusations, especially if it's against the wrong person, a very well liked person, for instance, like Russell Brand. I'm not saying that I think.
Well, I'll say this, and this is all right. This is my reason, because at first, and this is what really changed my overall opinion about Amber Heard. It was when that audio came out of that Johnny recorded of her.
That's why.
Like prior to that, I was like. Prior to that, for one, I was like following it, but I wasn't following it deeply. And I was kind of like, maybe Johnny did it. Maybe, just maybe, right? But when I heard that audio, and this is why I was like totally like, Amber, I can care less what happens to you. Like I can care less what the outcome is. But
right, I agree with you. I agree with you.
But see, and
but Amber Heard only started getting slack once they found out she lied. Before that, it was believe her, Amber Heard, Johnny Depp is this and that. But after that lie came out,
I agree.
For me,
it wasn't enough evidence to just go off that one tape and just say like,
no, I'm not saying that. It's just it's just this, right? She was saying like, okay, I'm being abused, blah blah blah, right? And from the way she's making it, it's a one-sided situation, right? The way but then it's like, wait a minute, you over here complaining about him abusing you, and you are literally also doing the same thing back to him, and you are literally dismissing it and acting like you didn't do it. Like, no, Johnny, I hit you, I didn't punch you. It's the same thing. What the fuck? And I was like, that's what really pissed me off. I'm like,
let me make clear
for the audience. In regards to her.
Let me make clear for the audience. What I'm trying to say is not that I don't think she deserves. I don't think she deserves the kind of, like death threats and all of this kind of stuff. But I certainly
I'm not saying she deserves that.
It's kind of like Jussie Smollett. Like he deserves ridicule and all of that kind of stuff for the shit he pulled, right? But my point is that. When it comes to taking on popular figures, even Marilyn Manson, similar kind of thing, there is always going to be a contingency of people who take that famous guy's side. So it is true when these women say like taking on a famous guy will change your life and going through with the whole case can be a serious problem for you on social
Yeah, for
media.
a regular person, but if that female's famous too,
I
totally
think
different.
I think it still can be a problem, honestly.
But see, Nerman, do you think
Not anymore.
do you think a lot of these people, like the victims, for example, and I feel like this might be the case, and I think people in general need to get this idea out their head.
Quick.
Do
Yeah,
you think the victims are completely discouraged because they don't know they're not going to get 100% support, like let's say unanimous support from everybody? Because if you're going into these type of situations, whether you're a victim or you're not, no one is not going to 100% support you and have your back on
there are
something.
going to be
But
people who attack the men, and they're going to, like, people even still till today, since the court case is done, still attacking Johnny Depp, still calling him an abuser, still calling him this. Doesn't matter what you prove in court, you're always going to be, have that hanging over you. But on the other side, there's the court of opinion, public opinion, both ways, right? It's like the women will get, annihilated as well, right? Like by a bunch of people who don't see things their way. So,
because my thing is honestly
that girl. I wanted to go through one last allegation before, and I've nearly finished cooking as well. The one last allegation was a 16-year-old girl who claimed that he groomed her, like he was dating her for a while when she was 16, and he groomed her. Now, the only issue with that is in UK, that's completely legal. That's the legal age of consent is 16 years old. I don't agree with it. I don't think that's
same thing here in the US. In some states it's 16, some say 17. In my opinion, it should be 18. But to be fair, I think they should just up the age of an adult to 21 if that's the age you can drink and smoke.
Well, I think it should be. I think it should be in brackets, because clearly, when you're 16, I was sexually active in some ways. Not that sexually active because I was a nerd, but I was sexually active enough. But and I certainly wanted to
down all them nerdies, eh? And them chess girls, you're dicking them down, ain't it, man? That's what you're doing.
But the point was that you are sexually active, Jim.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, but yes,
so
I agree. Okay,
brackets of from 18 to 19, or 19 to from 19 to 16, you can sleep with a person. As soon as you hit 20, you can't sleep with somebody under the age of 18.
Yeah, no,
right?
nerd man. When we see, the thing is, when it's consent, it's usually an older and a younger, right? Two 16-year-olds fucking, no one's gonna say anything. But when we talk about age of consent, this usually has to do with an older person and a younger person. Then you need to have that age.
Yeah, but even a 19-year-old with, say,
a 16-year-old
is a problem, or a 20-year-old
in law. In law, it is.
In law, it is. And so, if you had brackets saying, look, you're about the same mental maturity from about the age of, like, say, 19 to 16.
Yeah,
3 years. You've got the same intellectual maturity.
See, we had this discussion on the OOC because Roberto was like, nah, he ain't dealing with that. But I'm like, it's only 3 years. When she's 20 and he's 23, what's the big difference? You know what I mean? So for me, exactly. 16 and 19, I don't have an issue with that because they're around the same age. You know what I mean? And a 19-year-old is considered adult by law, but a 19-year-old is not a fucking adult. You know what I mean? A 19-year-old still gonna do some little kid shit. They're still kids.
Technically, they're still a team. That's why I say, even in our country, I find it silly that and they do these different. Like at 18, you can vote, you can go to war, you can get your license, but you can't drink and you can't smoke. Okay, if that's the case, then just make the age of an adult at 21, right? And see that's just the weird thing about it. I think it just should just be one age all across the board for any adult activities, right? But these countries want to do these different brackets and stuff because I'll be honest with you, I think there's a lot of these politicians and stuff that are running things that do like to have those acts with people that are underage, and they make these laws and put them in place. Go like, well, we can make the age of consent 16, 17, so I can do what I want to do. And if they consent, and I can do what I want, basically. And what we have to remember that a lot of these politicians and stuff making these laws, especially the age of consent laws, some of them are down with that.
Look, do you say, for instance, a 16-year-old has, sleeps with a 15-year-old? Do you think it's right to convict that person of sexual whatever? I don't think that's right. I think they're of the same intellectual.
Oh no. I mean, that's fine,
right? No, but that they can be, if the parents,
they can.
Yeah. There's no
they can do that, and I don't think that's right. You shouldn't be ruining a 16-year-old's life because he's or she is doing what's naturally occurring in their body to want to do. Right at that age, their hormones are going everywhere.
Man,
right?
When I was in school, you know how many 16-year-olds were fucking?
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
bro, it was literally teenagers when and when I was in high school, literally dating college students. We knew it was weird as fuck, but we just kept it to ourselves. Like, ain't my problem. I ain't snitched on nobody. It's weird, but not my problem.
But listen, here's the point anyway. So Russell Brand apparently was doing something with this 16-year-old. Again, the issue with that is it was of an age of legal consent. Now she's coming back and saying now she felt like it was grooming, and he did all these weird things with her. She described some weird thing where he made her stay in a bath because he said he's going out and he wants her to stay in the bath till she comes back. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Just like all of a sudden, R. Kelly's locking these girls in the closet and not feeding them for days. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna say there's no truth to some of this stuff they're doing, but sometimes I think they exaggerate a lot to make it seem worse than it really is.
Oh, yeah. And that is it precisely what lawyers and journalists get them to do.
They coach them.
Lawyers and journalists tell you to make it sound as worse as well. You're emotionally damaged. They encourage you to say these things. And so I wanted to bring up some points about the documentary, points that bothered me, and I want to know what you think. I know you haven't seen it, but those are the main serious allegations against him. Other than that, it's some weird behavior, exposing himself to women, but he was on a radio station, so he was actually performing some kind of show, and that was part of his whole act. It was kind of like
Howard Stern.
Jock Howard Stern.
Howard Stern shit.
Right? So people knew when they came into those doors, like basically anything could happen. Like you can't obviously do something with somebody that is completely illegal, but they knew things like of that nature.
What they were doing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm coming now. And so
don't they have to sign a form anyway on the shows?
Put it down. In the documentary, basically the women who were saying all of these things about Russell Brand, who were supposedly the victims, were anonymous, and therefore they were played by actors. So I'm watching this documentary thinking, hell, this is fucking convincing, man. These women, like listening to them, I was like, wow, these women, there's no way they can be lying because of the inflection and the passion with which they were speaking about this, only for me to discover, I believe all of them, I need to double check it, but I believe all of them were played by actors. So I want to know what you think of that, because we can even play a clip of maybe one of them so you get the sense of how they were portraying it.
Well, and I'm gonna give an example of like okay, so when I worked at my first job and I was doing an IT support internship, right? a lot of the girls there, right? The way they would interact with me and let's say put their hand on my shoulder and stuff and touch me, if I were to do it, it would probably be a different situation. Not saying, but if I wanted to, I could have just literally like went to HR and said, "Yo, I got sexually assaulted by this person. They had their hand on my shoulder for a while and they were just rubbing it, blah blah blah." Now that doesn't bother me, but I think, and this is where the stuff gets in too much of a slippery slope, because some people can get away with saying somebody's doing something when they're not doing it because these laws are so freaking slippery. Just like I said with the age of consent stuff, right? In some states in the US, the age of consent is either 16, 17, 18. It's all over the place. So it's a slippery slope where you can, with loopholes, too many loopholes. And it's not like very specific. So, I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying all these people are wrong or right, but people are misusing a lot of these laws and stuff that are in place. People do it all the time, but these laws have created loopholes, obvious loopholes for people to do this stuff. It's like it's almost intentional to set up these situations for them to happen like this, because they have to be intentional at this point. Like you don't because if you were to make a law that has so many gaps in it, it's like, all right, you notice there's a problem with this law and you're not fixing it. Mind you, they never really changed these laws for a while. They leave them as is. And I think they intentionally do these on purpose, because sexual assault, you can say anybody sexually assaulted you. For if I bumped into a person, that person can say I assaulted them sexually, even though I didn't. Now they have to really prove it, but they could have said I did. They could have said, "Oh, you bumped into me and grabbed my ass." Like, what? I just bumped into you. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
But someone can do that. They have the opportunity to, because the laws are so flimsy. And also people don't know the laws anyways. Let's make that clear. A lot of people don't know their laws in their own countries. That goes for a lot of people.
But here's the problem: are we now living? As I said, I think it's a really good thing that if it's moving towards a generation of women who go against this principle, that nice guys finish last, right? That to be successful with women, you're going to be a bit of a bad boy, a bit of the Jack the Lad, a bit, because I always thought that was kind of bullshit, but the fact of the matter is I engaged in that behavior because I was encouraged. I was literally taught by not just men, but by women, right? That it is something that is, not enjoyed. How would I put it? That is desired, deeply by women, right? For you to be a little bit, not completely off the rails, but a little bit forward, right? Don't just be timid and whatever. So that kind of behavior, it was actively encouraged. And I brought up a couple of videos like a week ago. I don't know if you remember, about
what up, Mike?
Sorry?
I was just saying to Mike, what's up?
Oh, hey, Mike. I brought up a video about women coaches, giving. Ooh, where did he go? Like women coaches giving men advice about how to pull women, right? And saying, yeah, that's what women like. Yeah, does Russell Brand take it to a little bit of an extreme? Sure. But in the early 2000s, in the 90s, that was what was proclaimed as like the thing to do. I mean, you think about clubs. Go.
And that's where you get into the Cosby stuff, right? Because back in the day, That's what it was. You would do drugs, you know what I mean? Come over, hey, let's do these lines. Hey, you want some whatever he was giving them, you know what I mean? Like that was the thing.
Hmm.
That was the thing. That's what they were doing. They were drugs, they were smoking weed, all that shit, right? So to sit there and be like, oh, well, he gave me this and gave me what is it, Quaaludes, they're thinking they call it.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you know that's what you were doing. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
No
It's like you
problem.
have to go with the times, right? Maybe now that shit won't fly, but back in the days, that's what it was about. Now it's
Hmm.
about the weed. Literally was in the metro, the subway one day, right? And this girl was coming up the stairs, and these kids were in the metro.
Wait, can I just?
One,
Can I? Yeah,
yeah,
go,
just
go,
let
go.
me finish this real quick. 100% sure they didn't know this girl. And as she walked up, he was like, "Hey, you want to smoke some weed?" She was like, "Yeah," and they bounced just like that. And I was like, "Fuck, it was that easy."
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's the same thing. It's like it's just the times that we live in are
right.
different.
And there's nothing to say. Look, I'm not here to say at any point when a woman says no,
Of course
that's
not.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
That is
of course.
it. End of story.
Yeah, yeah.
As soon as she says no, you back off.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
there may be some miscommunications between people, right? Like maybe she feels she's physically saying no, but you don't realize that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there are issues like that. But um and that's a problem, and that's something that men need to be educated more on, right? But in terms of you know, just that, once there's a refusal, once there's any kind of indication like that she does not want or like or is interested in this, it doesn't matter how far the situation's gone, it could be mid-sex, it doesn't matter. Soon as you continue from that point, then it is the R word, as far as I'm
Yeah,
concerned.
yeah.
No ands, ifs, or buts. However, as we were talking about, there's an issue that like men have been taught for a long time that women do like a certain amount of forwardness, a certain amount of confidence, a
Yeah, yeah,
certain amount
yeah, yeah,
of
yeah.
swagger, you know, and that timid guys apparently get nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we were taught in our generation. And I'm happy to
Yeah, yeah.
see it's shifting. I think it's a good thing that that's shifting and that women aren't like, oh, I just want a bad boy who treats me like shit anymore. They actually are looking for nice guys. They are looking for like guys who are, you know, economically.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know. I'm not. No, I don't agree with that one either.
I think more so.
It's still some of the girls on that slippery slope, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't
I
agree with
think
that
they're
one
being
either.
encouraged to do that,
Yeah, yeah,
even
yeah, yeah.
if they're not
There's more encouragement for it.
necessarily doing that. You know, so
I think it's gonna be like 2 or 3 more generations until we actually start to get women that start to go like, hey, you know, like not getting with the guy that only has a mattress with no
You
bed
see,
frame in his
I
house.
don't even think it's. I think it's going the opposite way. If you watch all those dudes, Fresh and Fit, and all those guys, you know that those women, those younger women that are on
no,
there,
those fresh and
all
fit
they
have got
want.
applications coming forward towards them, bro.
Yeah, yeah, but what I'm talking about is the females that they have on the show.
Yeah,
If you listen to a
the
lot of
guests that
them,
you're track.
and I get it, they pick a certain type of female to be on the show. That's 100% correct. But the majority of the younger women are like, oh, he has to have 100K, he has to have a nice ride. You know what I mean? Like that's
Have
what
that
they're
be a
looking
nice
for.
guy.
Huh?
Yeah, but don't take the women on fresh and fit as some
I'm not. But what I'm trying to explain to you is
benchmark
that
women in
they
the world.
bring in a lot of those women that come on, and there are a lot of women that think that way. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. A lot
I
of them
get
do.
that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there has been a shift, at least culturally, towards women having
Nope.
not accepting the kind of behavior, like, oh, I'm just going to go into a club. and just wind up against like a girl in hope that she
Yes,
can.
they do. What are you talking about? Yes, they do. Last time you've been to a party, bro. It's the same
I
thing.
think that's more of a. I wouldn't do that now.
You
I certainly
wouldn't, but
wouldn't do that
it has
now.
not
Not going
changed,
up to
bro.
the back, like
It
like going up to them from the back and doing that, like people used
it
to do
has
sometimes in the bar.
they still
You
do
think
it,
they
bro.
still do
A
that?
girl walking by, the man will grab her arm like, "Hey, baby, come here." They still do it. Nothing has
Uh,
changed.
not
I'm
that,
telling
dude.
you. I am
I,
telling you. I
I
have
mean, yeah,
seen
like
it.
I say, it's still well, and I really mean this. Like, it's gonna be a couple generations until the dating climate of how people interact with each other and just how guys interact with women. It's gonna take like maybe 2 or 3 more generations because we're still not that far off from the people that grew up in the 80s, the 90s, the 70s, and stuff. Some of those people are still alive, and the way they were raised to interact with women still affects us till this day. So that gap is not big enough right now for that shift to really happen. We're still kind of in it, but there is more people nowadays. I'll say women being encouraged to, not get with a dude that's a fuckboy. There's a lot more men being encouraged to, read the room with a lot of women. Like yes, back in the day, as a man, you was taught, yo, you can have your way with the woman, you can do whatever you want. But there's also being respect taught. There's also being respect taught. Wait. There's also being respect taught, but their idea of respect was different from how respect is now. Like everybody's idea of respect, especially when it comes with women, was kind of different, right? But it's
but
gonna be a
I
lot.
don't think it was like you were just saying like you can do what you want or have your way with them any way you want. It was more that it was just the environment of just being like there's a lot of like drugs and there still is. You're right, Anzo, about that, right? There's just a lot of drugs and alcohol and everything mixed at these parties, and people were just like a little bit more loose, I think,
I'll agree
right?
with that. They were more
And
loose, but
therefore,
it's just that they don't do it as in the open as they do now, right? Because it's considered taboo. But believe me, they still do it.
anyway, I think this is like going back to Russell Brand, and we'll talk. Mike, obviously, I'm
Was good, Mike.
happy to
What up,
see
Mike?
you. But I really want your opinion as well. But like my point regarding Russell Brand is he is of that generation of guys who were taught that there were whole schools. I remember like this whole phenomena that came out about like pulling women, right? Like there was like the what do you call it?
Players
These
University.
pickup artists and stuff like that, right? Who were like teaching techniques of how to, and this is the kind of stuff they were teaching. Exactly what Russell Brand does, dressing extravagantly so that women notice you, like walking up, being super confident with them, playing one woman off the other, like that kind of those kind of strategies and techniques.
Wait a minute. Do y'all think he did it?
It's not that I don't know. And there were things about the documentary, even though I thought it was kind of like the proof that they provided was much more compelling on the surface, on the face of things, than a lot of other documentaries, because one, the woman apparently straight off the bat, like after the night, went to an R clinic and and reported it. So that to me is really good proof of something happening, at least her believing something happened at the time, right? So so that kind of thing. But the things that I was concerned about with the documentary is that they have actors playing these anonymous women.
And why would you put the women out there though like that?
Huh?
What difference does it make? I mean, they're anonymous. You're not going to see them. So what does it matter? Like that's the narrative.
Here's why it matters, because when they were describing what happened to them, I was fully like, "Oh my god, I believe these women."
Did it say like these are actors on there?
Huh?
Did it say like dramatization or these are not the real women or something?
So they said it about the first woman that they had, you know, where you didn't see her face, and they said,
Right.
yeah, it's played by an actor. So I kind of like dismissed that. But then they didn't say it afterwards. But as far as I understand, I might be wrong, but I've seen from other outlets that actually all of them were actresses. So I'm watching this woman with her face on the, you know, like
it didn't make it clear for you.
Yeah, like she was fully filmed just like me and you, or me and you know, K-Dots are now, just talking about it. And
so the dramatization is what bothered you, the way they presented it. Because see, I believe that he probably did do something, because back in the day he was like an alcoholic, he was doing drugs and all that. So I'm assuming, and this isn't an excuse to get him off or anything like that, but it's like when you're doing all of that stuff, maybe things go a little too far, you're not aware of what you're doing, that kind of thing, you know, and maybe they said stop and he didn't, whatever the case may be. But this whole narrative that he's pushing out there now, where like people are attacked, he's censored. There was a video he did yesterday or whatever that said he's censored. If you're censored, he would not have been able to post that video. Like, being censored means you can't talk. Like, somebody's taking away your ability to communicate. And he posted a video. The only thing they did was take away the monetization.
Yeah,
that
was demonetized.
Yes,
they didn't take away the channel though.
So he's not being censored.
Well, I mean, if they like were taking away his channel and stuff, then yeah, you can.
Then you're being censored. But even so, YouTube is a corporation. They can at will choose to do whatever they want. Whether they want to keep giving you guys a platform or not, that's up to them. It sucks, and you can say they're censoring me or whatever, but they're not a governmental agency. It's like when the government is the one that's trying to silence you, then that's a problem. When a tech company,
but the government did come in. The British government came in and
but all they asked is if he was making money off of the video that
he
posted about.
They came in and encouraged these companies to do that. Right.
The letters that I saw, all it said was that they were asking
the legal notion that is protected by the government. And legal institutions, that you are innocent until proven guilty, right? So by them stepping in and actually, you know, furthering this, and there's also a video out. I sent it to you earlier. I can't find any other source for it. Not to say that it doesn't exist, it definitely exists, but I can't find any other source for it apart from Ben Shapiro. Show where he shows basically a woman saying that she was approached by journalists about a story about Russell Brand, and basically her story didn't fit into their narrative. So so they you know, because he didn't do anything bad to her apparently, so they just didn't. They were like, oh yeah, we're not interested in your story. Right, so it's very
but they do that all the time.
I was just gonna say, they always, like, if they do 5 polls and only one poll is giving them the answers they want, they're gonna go with that poll. They're gonna ignore the other 4. Like that's common practice.
Surely it should be women coming to them. They should put out something about, you know, saying, hey, if you know, like, we encourage you to come forward if Russell Brand has done something, but them actively searching for, you know, going through his, you know, various women to find some women that will. No, it was on the. If you look up
this one you sent us.
Yeah, it was a mistake. Look up Ben Shapiro, Russell Brand, and it's. I think I sent you the timestamp as well, right?
9 minutes 59 seconds.
Yeah. So you can play that video.
Well, look, there's 2 things at play here. One, the accusations of what he did, potentially, but possibly, and 2, the demonetization. Those are 2 separate things. He is still innocent. I mean, you can take away his monetization. That doesn't mean he's guilty. That just means that they're choosing to not pay him. I mean, and that sucks, because if he's going to keep posting videos, they're going to be making money off his work. But they make money. You guys get super chats. What is it? Like, they take out 1/3 or something like that? You only get like 2/3?
Yeah,
Like,
They take
it's
a 30%.
yeah.
30%. Yeah, so they're already screwing you guys regardless or whatever. Like, you know, but I just he's trying to
Wait a
conflate
second.
the two things though. This is the problem.
But wait a second. Here's my issue with it. That means that effectively, somebody
Sexual
can
allegations, Jack.
somebody can have an opinion on you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that's what they have. They have an opinion on Russell Brand. It might even have some evidence towards it, but it's still just an opinion. And we're only taking it more seriously because it's, I suppose, a media organization behind it. The media organizations aren't the police.
Oh,
they don't.
not according to them. It's the Illuminati
level
and
of
mainstream
police.
media, the deep state. You know, whatever. It's not
But-
just Nerman. Are you monetized?
No.
Okay, good. Because if they listened to half the shit you spewed, man, you would be
Facts.
nuked off of this
Facts.
platform
Nah,
forever,
see,
dude.
see,
Okay.
see, YouTube changing now. Once Nerdman get to his 500 subs,
But you see,
monetization coming in. So
here's the
be on lookout,
problem I
y'all. He
have.
getting paid soon.
Here's the problem I have, and I'm really gonna get into the conspiracy stuff here because sometimes I think there's some truth to it. It's like he started saying stuff that people didn't like to hear. And the minute you start saying stuff that they don't like to hear, they do this shit which is a smear campaign to try to fucking get you.
But Anzo,
Before
he's been
that-
doing this. He's been doing this for at least 2 years now.
Exactly. But now
Right.
he's really getting on to some serious stuff and talking about stuff that maybe they don't want out there anymore. And it's like, well, you know what? We got to stop it. It was the same thing, regardless of what you want to say. And I hate Andrew Tate, but it's the same thing with him. The minute you start going against their narrative, they're going to find ways to do things that you don't want.
But he's also on Rumble. If YouTube was the only way that you could say something, then I would agree with you. Because yeah, you shut him off of YouTube, that's it. His voice is silenced. You got Rumble. You got now he could do like long form videos on Twitter and stuff. Like there are avenues. He's not censored.
I mean,
no,
but
I'm not talking about
to
being
be honest,
censored. I'm just talking about what I'm saying is
West, so.
all of his court stuff, all the shit that's going on, the allegations, all that stuff is just smearing them. And I say it all the time. It's like when Hollywood or those elites or whatever are done with you, if you don't conform to what they want, they will do things to try and bring you down, right? Because he's been talking this shit for 2 years, right? You just said it, all the time. All the time he's been talking this shit. No one said any shit, but he must have did something or said something that they didn't like, and it's time to get him, right?
I don't think it was just recently. He's been anti-vax, like just
100%.
all of this stuff.
100%.
Was he anti-vax? I don't know that he was anti-vax.
Well,
he's anti-big pharma. He's anti-big pharma.
At the end of the day, it's like they allow you to say what you want to say until you don't cross the line. The minute you cross the line or you're not making them money or doing whatever, that's what happens. And I think that's the same thing would happen with Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors did something or said something that he didn't want to do.
I don't think that happened.
You know what? Let's go to him. 100%.
No.
100%.
No, because the
100%.
timeline is different with Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors just had someone accuse him of something and go to the cops.
The reason,
and then the media up on that was
the
not that they
but
were
what I'm saying is no. The reason why I'm saying that though, because these allegations come out, right? It's not like if they want to protect you, and I had this conversation with my son because we talk about Hollywood and all that stuff. If they don't want these allegations to come out, they won't come out. Trust me. If they get wind that this girl had said something about Jonathan Majors was a huge guy and they didn't want this stuff to come out, they'd find a way to pay her off. They would do something to stop that information to come out. There's a lot of things that other people do, like let's say Jay-Z. I'm pretty sure Jay-Z has done some shady shit, right? But it's never come out. What I'm saying is at the end of the day, if some shit happens where Jay-Z doesn't conform anymore, you're going to hear a lot of or he gets too powerful, you're going to hear a lot of shit about Jay-Z coming out. Trust me.
I'll be honest.
It was about
Jay-Z right now is already powerful. He can him and Beyonce.
He's conforming. That's the problem. That's why he's not getting any issue, because he's conforming. It's once you go against that grain, once you go against their agenda, Once you start talking about, let's say, trans stuff or this stuff, that's when they're gonna get you. What I'm telling
Well,
you.
Sure,
also
I
let,
know.
well, also let me add this in too, because Jay-Z is a prime example. He also, compared to a lot of celebrities, stays very low key. Like, he keeps to himself. You don't see Jay-Z as interactive as much with his audience and stuff, and even the world, right? He does a lot of stuff, but he does it behind the scenes. A lot of these celebrities are constantly engaging with their audience and people daily, whether it be they're doing streams, doing concerts and stuff, whatever. Um, and you know, they're going to get caught up. They're going to end up getting caught up more because they're like constantly right in front of people's
Hold
faces
on.
and
So
stuff.
Jay-Z is the owner or part owner or whatever of Def Jam, right? He's a
Yeah.
big
Entitled, isn't he?
CEO. You cannot tell me that he is not doing shady shit. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I think he is doing shady stuff, but he compared to a lot of celebrities are a lot more smart about it because he's being very low key. He's just keeping to himself.
Harvey Weinstein.
He's not hopping on stream saying anything
How many
controversial.
years was Harvey Weinstein doing what he was doing? And then how long did it take for that Harvey Weinstein stuff to finally come
Yeah,
out?
but
Right?
that didn't
I mean,
come
that
out.
took more than 3 decades, though.
No,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
knew
yeah.
about it
But
for a long
what
time.
I'm saying is, just like R. Kelly, just like Harvey Weinstein, just like supposedly Bill Cosby, when he's doing all this stuff that he gets accused of 20 years later, they know what he's doing. They knew what Cosby was doing for 20 years. They knew what R. Kelly was doing. Shit, we as the fans knew what R. Kelly was doing. It's only after they decide to get you. Why is that? Why don't they get you
No,
when
it's
they
because
first
of the
find out?
generation. No, I have to take look. This generation, especially with what happened with Me Too, especially with the platform of Me Too, or sorry, the social media platform Me Too, all of that kind of stuff. That's why these things have come out,
But
and
you're not.
because
Yes,
they've
Birdman.
become so. Wait a second. I'll let you finish. Because they've become so popular. These TV shows, these scandals. Hey, we don't have serial killers anymore. They catch them too quickly, right? So we need something else. We need a new boogeyman for this generation. And the new boogeyman for this generation, and the one that they've kind of picked up on, and fueled by feminists as well. Some of it, I think, is right. Some of it, I think, is gone about the wrong way. I think the impulse to do it, the impulse to get these guys who are creeps, is a good one. But some of the ways they're going about it, I think, fundamentally goes against human rights, which I think is bad. I think that's going to harm everyone. But in any case, you've gone away from a situation where you have like criminals, like blatant criminals and evil people, like serial killers and stuff like that. They're gone. We catch them too quickly these days. So now we've got to come up with something else, and this has become the new hot kind of. It's kind of like those crime specials that they used to have, right, on like Weirdos. Now they've got this. And that's what I think we're seeing. I
No,
think we're
but what I'm
seeing like
saying is, never mind. They enable this stuff. They've enabled it for 20 years. They hid it.
they
They put
enabled
it on.
these guys.
They
That's what
put
they're
it
saying.
under
They
the.
enabled
They.
Russell Brand
That's what
even.
exactly my point. When they don't need you anymore, that's when these allegations come out. Because if they still needed R. Kelly, if he was still making money, if Bill Cosby was still doing the Cosby Show, which was a #1 show, regardless of Me Too or not, these allegations would have never come out. They would have been
I
hidden.
don't
They
believe
would have been paid off 100%. 100%.
Well,
If these elite,
I don't necessarily I get where you're coming from, but I don't necessarily fully believe that. I think that yes, I think there's an agenda by the media to get certain guys. There's certain feminist journalists, both men and women, who consider themselves feminist journalists, who really have a hard on for these guys and are doing you know, they've whatever guy they've taken a distaste to, they now see the opportunity to get them. And they are, because like what you're saying isn't even true, because look at Arnie Hammer, for instance.
Okay, but hold on. Look at what William said. Bill Cosby got exposed by other comedians. That is correct. There was a dude out there, I can't remember his name, who would go on stage and talk about all the shit that supposedly fucking Bill Cosby was doing. And they never did anything. They only did it towards the end. Now, people say it's because he tried to buy or wanted to buy NBC and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, my point is when they want to get you, they get you. That's why they know who they can talk to. That's why they know which girlfriends you had. They monitor everything you are doing. And if they knew for 20 years that R. Kelly or Bill Cosby was drugging women, right? Because they knew. There's people in Hollywood that knew.
You know, that's all very controversial, to be honest. I've looked into that case, and that.
Okay, I know. I'm just using it as an excuse because he was convicted of it, right, or whatever. What is it? I'm using that as right. I don't actually, like I said, it was the times. There was a drug pandemic. People were doing drugs all the time. You know, I know me. I'd call up a girl and be like, "Hey, what you doing tonight? Nothing. You want to come over have a few drinks?" She says, "Sure." She knows she's coming for it. She's coming over to have a few drinks, and you know what I mean. Take the D. That's what it is. You don't have to specifically come out and say, "Hey, baby, yeah, you want to come get some D?" No, baby, what's up? Let's hang out. You know, they use the same word, Netflix and chill. When you tell a gal, "Hey, you want to come over and watch Netflix and chill?" She knows she ain't coming over to watch no fucking Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me throw this in real quick because I don't disagree with nothing y'all saying because I think it's a combination. There's a combination of a lot of things. Combination of what Anzo said, combination of new generation coming up, just like Durman mentioned, me too, that don't want to tolerate some of the stuff people did in the past. Because, like I said, at certain points in people's lives, some things are okay and some things just aren't. And some of these older celebrities are not able to keep up with what's going on now. So the activities they used to do back in the day that they thought was okay, they can't do that shit no more. So and you know,
not only can they not do it, not only can
they can't do it anymore, and the audience has changed. The audience of people, the environment.
But see, he's trying to introduce. He's trying to introduce the. Hold on there, man. He's trying to introduce this alleged censorship of YouTube as the reason that these allegations came out, trying to justify whether, well, if he did it or if he didn't do it. So if he did do it, he's using this. He's being disingenuous by trying to conflate this one thing with this other thing, because he also, about 7 months ago, I think it was, maybe, had a problem with YouTube then, where he announced he was just going to go, they were going to do things on Rumble, but they were going to have like little clips that they would show on YouTube. So everybody that wanted to see the full thing would have to go to Rumble. So this isn't something new where he hasn't had some issues with YouTube or whatever. And it's not just like all of a sudden, like, oh my God, these allegations came out because big, media, I forgot what the buzzword is for media, but whatever, the media wants to get him, and you know, and the YouTube just demonetized him because they want to shut him down. They don't want him to talk. He had an issue with them beforehand, back about 6, 7, maybe 8 months ago or something like that, where he decided that he was going to just use YouTube to promote his stuff, and his home, quote unquote, would be on Rumble. So I think where we need to figure out the first thing, which needs to be done by, you know, the proper methods that they do them, where they determine whether somebody was raped or if the allegations were true. Because right now all they are allegations. So once they do that, then all the other stuff can be folded in. And also, Anzo, to your point, if it wasn't for Jay-Z, Nas would be the GOAT. Okay.
Oh no! That. Oh my God! What are
Look
we
into that.
About? Oh Lord!
So
Biggie would be the GOAT.
No. Just because of stuff that that Jay-Z did to Nas.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. I got you. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, hey, Jack, let
me just respond to that. Like, because so what you were saying earlier, K-Dots, about retroactively taking behaviors that were normalized in like the 90s and early 2000s and like judging people from our standard today. I think that's really, it is problematic, especially from somebody like Russell Brand. And I don't want to like, sit here like defending him, because these guys, Russell Brand probably would have, actually, to be fair to him. But these guys, when people were, accusing us black people, like, Emmett Till situation, all of those situations where women were accusing black people of heinous stuff, and it turns out it was untrue. They didn't care, right? So
Right.
I feel reluctant to kind of come out and like be, up here kind of defending their freedoms now, right? But that being said, we're talking about a guy who was an admitted sex addict. He was an admitted drug addict, right? He's gone to rehab. He's tried to, make his life better afterwards. And what he was indulging in that time, which he admitted, like openly, and they're now using like comedy specials, little lines he said from comedy specials, to kind of convict him in the court of public opinion for things he was saying back then, right? I just think that's disturbing, because one, we know, from comedy itself, that's always an exaggeration, right? That's not necessarily,
a lot of them, like literally Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle, or even Bill Burr, like they all kind of make up stories. Some of them might be true, but then there's some that happen that they exaggerate.
Well, there's a dude that's going through that now. The one that used to be on the Daily Show, Hassan. I can't remember what his last name is.
The Middle Eastern guy. I know you're talking about.
Yeah. Apparently, he was like, he said like, oh, we had to go to the hospital tonight because my daughter touched some white powder that somebody sent to us or whatever. And it's like, you understand that as a comedian, yeah, they're making stuff up. They're trying to put like comical slants on, regular stories or something like that, but when it's something that's like provocative like that, like, I mean, because that, like, hearing that could just like, this is the thing. I understand that everybody is free to express themselves however they want, but I've never understood the point where there's some sort of responsibility for the words that you say, because yes, if you're like, you're 50 Cent and you're saying, hey, you know what, when I was young, I used to gang bang and, I got shot like, 20 times or whatever. That might encourage some kid to follow in his steps because he idolizes 50 Cent. Now, is that his responsibility? Did he know that he was going to influence that child to do that? No. But somewhere there has to be like some sort of, I can't think of the word. Like you just have to be able to, like, just because you can say something doesn't mean that you should. And you should be able to throw, like, I was looking back through Brands because I was trying to find the exact moment when the thing happened between him and YouTube where he said, oh, we're going to be broadcasting on Rumble, but I'll put like, little clips here so you guys can join over there and see the full things. But some of the stuff that he was saying or whatever, like, just because you have a platform to say it, doesn't mean that you should. You shouldn't say like,
what Brand's been talking about recently has been mainly political or quasi-spiritual kind of stuff, meditation and whatever.
No, the meditation stuff was 2 years ago, Nerd Man.
No. But I was going to say he's touched on some controversial stuff in recent times. But in general, this guy has been just going after, the powers that be. Like he was a huge leftist. He was actually in some ways adopted by the left-wing British opposing parties to the government for a long time, because he supposedly had the ear of the youth, and they wanted somebody who that related to young people to get them to vote for them. So
now is left over there, or is it right? Like left is left and right is right over there, right? It's not different.
No, it's the same. It's left wing and right wing everywhere.
Left.
Well, no, because
over there.
So so in any case, the Russell Brand has been that in the kind of public eye, yes, it's always been slightly controversial, but it shouldn't really be. He's just expressing his kind of opinion on on broadly speaking politics and big business and big pharma and all of those kind of things. You're allowed to do that. You don't have to believe it. Right? Most of the sexually explicit stuff he was saying was in his comedy shows in the 90s or on his radio show and stuff like that. And to me, what I saw in that person, and this is why I kind of relate to him, even though I took a different way of doing this, is somebody who was kind of just saw society as not making sense. The way the world was, he thought was deeply unjust, and instead of going out and actually trying to do something about that, he just did what a lot of people do, is get drunk and take the drugs to try and deal with how depressing the reality he saw around him was getting. And during that, he behaved in, outwardly and admittedly in some bad ways. But since he's cleaned up his act, and my kind of issue with it is, you take someone like Eminem using the F word, right? He used the F word in the 90s and early 2000s. He never uses the F word now, right? Is he going to get cancelled for that eventually? Is that what?
No, wait. He did use it in he used it on his Kamikaze album when he called Tyler the Creator he said it to Tyler the Creator. It was recent though. He did apologize, but it was he did use it.
But hold on, at least as far as I know, and as much as it might not be politically correct or something, saying the N-word is not a crime yet. When you allegedly do something to another human being, when you decide to violate them in a certain way, that's a crime. So you can't conflate those two.
I'm not talking about the crimes he was doing. I'm talking about stuff he was saying on stage.
Allegedly.
His braggadocious behavior, all of that kind of stuff that they're using, especially in this documentary. If the documentary was just being fair, right, they should just go, none of that stuff that wasn't illegal has anything to do with this. All we should be focusing on is the accusations.
Correct.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Right? We shouldn't that are criminal in nature.
Yes.
Right? Get all of his behavior outwardly, because there are men who act completely the opposite way, who seem like the biggest gentlemen in the world, and they are women, like behind closed doors, or do devious shit behind closed doors. So one's outward behavior really has nothing to do necessarily with whether they're going to commit those kind of crimes. And that's the problem I have with it. Eminem used to show his ass sometimes. Is some woman going to say, oh, Eminem exposed his ass in front of me, right, at a show, or at like when he was drunk or high? You know what I'm saying? It's like, again, this is behavior that was acceptable, that was encouraged. People thought Eminem was funny for showing his ass, right? People thought Howard Stern was funny for all the shit he pulled on his show and his radio show.
Maybe you have Eminem confused with Howard Stern, because I don't remember Eminem showing his. I know Howard Stern showed his ass.
Oh no, Eminem did.
Yeah, he did.
He did some music videos. What's up? Damn, Cole's on your voice. Shit, sound different.
Yeah, because I had a headset mic with this, but it never.
That's not. Who the fuck is that? That's not Cole.
What?
By the way, should I play this or should I get rid of
this? That's a different motherfucker.
Should I play this or should I get rid of this? Because
I wanted to say this real quick. This is what people nowadays, right? Well, in general, people always put out this big lie out there, like you can always redeem yourself if you put yourself on the right path and do better. You can, get back into people's good graces. But in reality, people are a lot more bitter than they actually are. Doesn't matter how much you want to change. Doesn't matter, even if you have to did something after you did something bad, you change, and you even serve time in jail. it doesn't really matter because the majority of people are super bitter. They don't want people to be rehabilitated. They don't want people to change. If you don't agree with what somebody is saying, you're automatically out. You're automatically discarded, whether it be you're liberal or conservative. There is both ways. These people and many in general are like this, and these people still try to promote that they are forgiving people. Mind you, a lot of these people believe in a belief system that encourages them to forgive, right? Forgive and allow people to change and do better because we all are going to make mistakes, right? Now, some people need to be punished for mistakes. But if we're going to preach to people that, you know, you can do better, the way people are going about it now is not going to reinforce that. But people try to make it a thing, and it's all bullshit. You know, it's all bullshit to me.
Yeah.
But personally, I want to see people change and do better. And if you are changing and you're on that path to do better for yourself, your past is still going to be there. You can't get rid of it, but I'm not going to hold it by you. I only do that to people that are still doing the fucked up stuff they was doing back in the day, and they try to act as if it doesn't apply to them any longer. For example, let's say somebody was like, oh no, I'm not robbing banks anymore. I'm a changed person. You come to find out that they're robbing banks and stuff. It's like, dude, what the fuck? You know, it's like you're still doing it. You want me to have sympathy for you, and
Yeah,
blah,
and a lot
blah,
of those people were never really fully punished anyway.
yeah, mind you, some people don't get punished, but I'm also like this. If you did some really bad stuff in your past, like for example, robbing a bank, even if you change, let's say 10 years later, I mean, if you finally get caught up, you finally got caught. It is just what it is. You finally got caught. Now you got to serve the time. But, you know, it is just what it is.
William Moloch, he got caught for having sex with a 16-year-old, but that was legal in the UK. So he didn't get caught for anything. The problem is the law.
No. He's saying when Eminem was drunk and high, he never got.
No, I know, but he's trying to make that a contrast to Russell Brand. You can't tell me Eminem probably didn't bang, like, what's the legal age to have sex in America?
16.
It also depends on the state.
16 or 17, depending on the state.
Yeah.
16 or 17. I thought it was 18.
That's why it's inconsistent. It fluctuates between the three.
I'll be very surprised if
Eminem, I don't think I ever heard 16. I think it's 17 and something.
I know it's 16 here.
Hold on. If Eminem along the way, let me finish. If Eminem along the way didn't bang a 19-year-old or something along those lines during all that time, because he admits he cheated on not Haley.
Bro, Tom Cruise was an adult dating a minor. Like a lot of these Hollywood stars do it. You can Google it right now. Go Google how many Hollywood stars dated minors.
Especially if a Tom Cruise does, it doesn't surprise me.
Tom Cruise was one of them. There's a lot of them.
What was Tom Cruise? I don't know the situation.
But he believes in like
I know
you mean the
Scientology. What girl did he date?
He dated a minor. I don't know. Hold on, I'll find it for you.
And so wait a minute. While Anzo's looking for that, listen. This was from a Vogue article, a Vogue interview that they did with Katy Perry back in 2013, I think it was. And she said when she was talking about Russell Brand, because apparently he broke up with her via text message, like right before she was going to go on a concert or whatever. It says the marriage lasted 14 months. She said, at first, when I met him, he wanted an equal. And I think a lot of times strong men do want an equal. But then they get that equal and they're like, I can't handle the equalness. He didn't like the atmosphere of me being a boss on tour. So that was real hurtful. And it was very controlling, which was upsetting. I felt a lot of responsibility for it ending. But then I found out the real truth, which I can't necessarily disclose because I keep it locked in my safe for a rainy day. I let go and I was like, this isn't because of me. This is beyond me. So I have moved on from that.
Well,
What the hell
here's
she
my
talking
answer to that. Here's my answer to that. If she's talking about him R-ing somebody,
Mm-hmm.
then she's a twat for not fucking saying something.
Complicit? Yeah.
He has evidence that he did some, real sexual assault on women or other kind of things. Then she should really speak up and say that. And she should have spoken up and said that a long time ago,
Agreed.
rather than leave him to be freely doing whatever. So what that makes me feel, I don't know. When was this interview?
2013.
Okay, well, if it's 2013, then my second point doesn't stand. But
And they were married from
there's
October
a level of-
2010 to July 2012.
Shouts out to the
there's-
people on Kick and Rumble watching.
there's a little vindictiveness.
And
You can say that people have, not just women, men have when they break up with
What's
women.
good, Susie?
You get vindictive, right? You start seeing the worst in the person that you thought was the best person in the world, right? So it's hard to take that at face value, especially from somebody who got broken up with over a text, right? Like, you can't do. She's got something bad to say about this guy. I mean,
I think she said it.
If it's something illegal, she should really come out and say it, because then she's putting other women at risk.
Okay, not to sound like Cole. Nowadays there's a lot of regular people a lot of people now are archiving encrypted data because they are sure within the next 5 years they can unencrypt it all.
Yeah, that's what Katy Perry said. Well, Katy Perry did. She encrypted something apparently about Russell Brand, and everyone's like saying, "Oh, that's like proof against him that he's done something."
Oh, like she hid some old pictures and messages and stuff.
Information, yeah.
I don't know. See, this is what I say. When actors, it's just like with Jonathan, I'm using for example, how these corporations dropped him. That doesn't mean they know if he's guilty or not. They're just doing it to protect their brand, right? They don't know.
Well, we've seen it just recently with somebody as well. You remember that, K-Dots?
He's talking about our old friend.
Huh?
He's talking about our old friend.
Put
Our old friend.
I got a lot of old friends. Put it in private chat.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean. I'm talking about who in the celebrity world who.
Oh, I thought you were talking about this dude.
Oh, what? Oh, no, but you could use that for an example too. But yeah, but also but no, I mean Onzo knows who I'm talking about. But I'm saying like his team there also dropped him, which was pretty stupid. But either way, that means proves doesn't mean they're guilty. It just want to, as you said, K-Dots.
They're just protecting the brand and just getting away from
want to put on the record.
Now,
by the way,
it could be a sign if the corporations knew they were guilty from jump, and it was like, all right, let's go ahead and drop them, and then it gets revealed after through some digging and investigating that Microsoft knew Phil Spencer, who's the leader of Xbox, was guilty of this crime. They just went ahead and dropped him, and these files and stuff, data comes out showing, okay, they had evidence and knew what was going on, right? But you would only know that until they actually revealed that. So going off of these people getting dropped so early, I wouldn't take that as cold hard facts. As people, just like in real life, somebody might distance themselves from somebody that they find out, oh shoot, you got a murder charge, you killed like 10 people. And you have their bodies in your closet. All right, I'm gonna stay away from you for a bit. I'm gonna wait.
No, but
there are a lot
even
of distance
that, like, I can understand like companies wanting to distance themselves from these kind of accusations because of the pressure that's put on them by like these individuals who don't seem to want to respect this notion that you are innocent until proven guilty. It is got to a point. I'm watching these shows, you know, about like Russell Brand. There's a bunch of women and other, you know, feminist kind of individuals, you know, saying, "Oh, how dare you, you know, defend his, you know, basic fundamental human rights? How, you know, like these women. What about the victims? They're not victims yet." Until they may be proven to be victims in future, but at the moment they are accusers, and that's the
And
only issue I
until,
have. I'm
yeah,
not
until
saying I
that
don't believe
evidence
them.
comes out,
I
it's
think
just
from
allegations.
looking at some of the videos of Russell Brand and his behavior with women, I just thought, wow, that's outrageous. But you know, I remember if you looked up those videos about like 5 years ago, these were YouTube videos where it was saying, "Oh, look how much game Russell Brand has,"
Right.
you know, like, "Oh, look at how he approaches women," as if it was a thing that you should admire and emulate his behavior, as opposed to, you know, this is outrageous. How can you do this in a professional environment to like some woman who's an interviewer, right? Like, get up in her face. Like, literally, he was straddling one woman in this video. So
It's like a quick it's like a quick example, but you know, people that watch the original Karate Kid, right? You know, now that is has been out for so long, there was a narrative going around that, you know, actually Daniel was the instigator and Johnny wasn't, right? And it was actually correct, right? But so many people growing up like, nah, Johnny was the instigator, Daniel was the hero, blah blah blah. But when you get into Cobra Kai and stuff, it actually backs up the fact that yeah, that was the case. Daniel was an instigator. Was he completely wrong? No, but Johnny is not completely guilty of what he did either. It's not like he just randomly did it. Like I said, stuff changes over time. But the people then that was there, to them, it is what it was. Because
Mhm.
you know, when people like I said, when people grow up in certain times, like it used to be okay not too long ago to sleep around with people younger than you, very much
Yeah,
young,
it happened
like
a lot of
super young.
time for
It used to
sure,
be it
especially
used
in
to
the
be
70s.
normalized, right? Because right and wrong literally changes like every single generation. What's right and wrong literally keeps changing, and they go just by the times. And when we find new information on things, you know, when we find new information through science and all that, the what's right and wrong starts to change due to us discovering more and figuring things out. So a lot of stuff can get real subjective to a certain
And
extent.
to an extent, I understand these women, and I understand like why feminists these days are so hard line on this stuff. Because if you look at how the police in past were treating these situations, it's like they didn't give a fuck, right? Like they treat these women who would come in like it was somehow their fault because they wore a short skirt, or they, you know, they were a little bit flirtatious, or whatever the reason was, right? And the fact of the matter is none of that matters. If they say no, it's over, right? And so now it's swung in completely the opposite direction, and they're trying to take out a cherished fundamental right that we all have, and attacking that right, you know, that right to, as I said, a fair and impartial trial, innocent until proven guilty, all of those things. Attacking those rights is an attack on everyone. It may start with celebrities, it may seem all distant and out there, but sooner or later it could just be like, oh, somebody posts something on Facebook about Jean Paul or Unzo, and it gets enough traction, and you know, there you go. It's like you can get fired from your job. In fact, it's even happening in universities already. You know, like somebody will accuse somebody of something in a university, sexual impropriety, something like that, and they can immediately get expelled. So it's not as foreign and distant as people like to think.
Yeah, I can't find the shit of fucking Tom Cruise though.
America's still up. Yeah,
But
America's
I
still
do
allowed.
find,
Mhm.
well, we all know about Elvis, Jerry Seinfeld's on
Yeah.
the list. You know what I mean?
Jerry
Um,
Seinfeld. I don't know about Jerry Seinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld was 38 when he was dating a 17-year-old.
Mhm.
Now, see,
That was illegal.
What-
That was legal in the state that you're.
It was like
Did it, right?
Shoshana or something like that, I think was her name.
Okay.
hold
No,
on,
I
just
thought that
so-
with 16 or
Yeah, that's
17
it.
though, I thought it's just like with other people around that age, not like older people like that.
But even though legal, if it is, I don't know what state it is. They're just talking about who dated, younger women. You're 38. What the hell you doing with a 17-year-old?
I agree, but if it's legal, I'm sorry. That's
Nah,
the end.
that's still
End of it.
that's.
We don't have a right to.
mm,
We have a right to judge, and say, hey, that's kind of, it's kind of skeezy, or it's, whatever you want to call it. But the fact
So
of the
here's
matter
the
is,
thing.
in the
Here's the
eyes
thing,
of the
though.
law,
Yeah,
I'm not wrong.
but that's the thing, nerd man. Not everywhere though, right? So let's say she's not legal, or she's legal in California but not legal in New York. If he ever takes her to New York, he can be charged with that.
Oh no, but he can't be charged unless he does the act in New York, right?
No, no, that's how they got R. Kelly. RICO charging.
yeah, it's
You can't travel across the over states with a minor like that.
Yeah, it's okay. So he would have to have done something with her in that state for
No,
him to
just
be.
crossing the state lines.
That's crazy.
He doesn't have to sleep with
That
her.
doesn't
They're
make
just
any
crossing
sense.
state lines. So they got R. Kelly, bro. The
No,
RICO
but that
charge.
doesn't make any sense.
They call it trafficking. They called it trafficking of a minor.
well. And look,
I don't.
wait, here. Let me add this in. And I'm speaking from personal experience, and this is just honestly how it is. This is why I don't disagree, and I don't disagree because technically it is legal, right? But to be fair, a lot of people, now this is just me, prime example, right? Now, I was born 99. As I grew up, at the age of 18, you're an adult, and that's when you can, start having sex, all that, and hooking up with other adults, right? That's just how I was wired to think, because that's what the law was, and that's how it is for me. But see, now some people want to change that age to 21. Some people think, oh no, well, it should be, you can consent at 16, 17. And I say these numbers get so, age is not just number, but these numbers is getting to way too subjective, because in Japan, right, you can someone can consent at the age of 13, right?
Thought they
They've
changed that
changed it.
recently.
They've changed
What
it.
they up to the 16, but that was the thing. Like someone at 13 can consent, but people growing up in Japan with that law would think that's okay. Here, I don't think it's okay.
In Spain, it was 14 or 15, one or the other. It still is.
And like I said, I'm not justifying those other countries. It's just that where you grow up at, where you are born at, is going to control what you think is right or wrong. Right. Now, I don't agree with those other countries. I think I'm right. I think you're an adult at 18, but in those other countries, they don't think that. They think you're an adult much younger.
The simplest way to get out of all of this, nonsense, is what they should have done in the first place, is just bracket that age. Bracket the age from about, as I said, from about
just pick one number
to 18. That is, you can't do anything with them. They're legally allowed to sleep with each other, but anybody older than that, sleeping with them is a crime.
Right.
So basically, it's the sensible way to deal with that situation, because as I said, at 15, 16, I remember wanting to have sex, being sexually active, all of those kind of things. But at the same time, you're not ready to be having that kind of relationship with an adult. That is not that's not a good time, because they can completely take advantage of you. So and yeah, like, even if they're not trying to, may well do, just by just the fact of their age, the age difference. So yeah, what you were saying about Jerry Seinfeld, though, Onzo, as I said, my problem with that is we might find it like distasteful, but as long as it's legal, it's not that I don't have a problem with it, it's that it's legal. It doesn't matter if I have a problem with it.
All right, it's legal. But like I say, guys, I think collectively, and look, science is a big part of it, and I think some of these other countries are some countries are behind, and some people live in old ways and stuff. But to fix all this, just pick one number. The age you become an adult is age you can start having sex with adults, doing adult things. But there's so much inconsistencies.
So you don't agree with the brackets thing?
Well, because for me, it's just not to leave those loopholes. Like you said, 16, 17, you're technically not an adult in this country, but you can sleep with an adult. And in my opinion, that doesn't make any sense. Just at the age you're an adult, that's when you can sleep with adults. I'm not disagreeing with how it currently is, but if that's the case, okay, then you're an adult at 16, 17 in this country. Like, they just need to pick one number and run with it. Too many different numbers. This shit is so confusing. It confuses the fuck out of me. Now, to me, in every single state, I wouldn't want to hook up with somebody that young, but at the age of 18, you're an adult. I would treat you like an adult if you're above the age of 18. If you're below that, you're a child. Like, you're a child, you're a teen. That's what you are, right? But it's not like that in all these different states and stuff. But I also just pick one number. And as far as the gap between 18 and 21, yeah, once you're 18, you should be able to drink and smoke, right? You should be able to. You're an adult now. You can freaking vote. You can vote and decide who's the next president going to be, which is a very big decision. You can drive a car, you can go to war, but you can't, just pick one number. It'll confuse less people. It won't stop certain people. It won't stop people from trying to sleep with children. It won't, but at least people will take the law more serious. Like, okay, it's direct, it's specific, it's no loopholes. Boom.
What is going on?
A nice theme.
Who was that, Mike? Mike.
That's Mike.
Mike, turn off your Spanish show.
I'll
Just mute him. Mute him. Yeah.
You can go to war issue. Yeah.
You guys, you see how Cole's racism came out? You see how Cole's racism came out?
I heard some lady. No, I heard some lady in the background who was like talking Spanish or something.
Yeah, sure.
You want to turn off Abuela show?
Oh Lord, why do we put up with this guy, guys? Why do we do it?
But I hear in social media that people complain about. Oh, okay. Now, Brian, this is where I disagree. This is where I heavily disagree with a lot of people, and this is why I say some of these people. Some people think, once your brain fully develops at the age of 25, you're an adult. Some people think you're an adult at 21. I remember people was getting mad at Leonardo DiCaprio because he was dating a woman in her 20s. They was calling him a pedo, all that. I'm like, what the fuck? That's an adult. You past the age of 20, you are definitely an adult. You know, even if you're not 21, if Leonardo DiCaprio wants to date a 22-year-old girl or a girl that's 20, fine by me. He's not a pedophile. I think he's weird? Not really. No, I don't think he's weird. I mean, if you want to date someone young, that's just the nature of men, anyways. They want to date younger, and a lot of women want to date someone older. They want to date older men. That's just facts.
Sure, in a way, but
you know it's the truth. I'm talking about younger in terms of adult young, not like child young.
I kind of like, I remember in my 20s to 30s, like dating older women, to be honest. But in any case, people need to realize there's a difference between pedophilia and ephebophilia. Pedophilia is prepubescent, when you are attracted and pursue in some way prepubescent people, kids, right? Ephebophilia is where you're attracted to like people who are pubescent but are very, very young. So something between the ages of 19 to, say like, it could be 13 or 14 or something like that, when basically you hit puberty, right? So there's a difference between that. I'm not saying that ephebophilia is something that is good or whatever, but calling somebody a pedophile because they're attracted to younger girls who are pubescent, it might just be that they're attracted to that individual girl, right? As opposed to an overall attraction. Whereas pedophilia, usually it's because you've got a sexual attraction to that, underage people, right? Do you see what I'm, not underage, but like people who are prepubescent, basically. Whereas, you might see like a bunch of people who are around the age of 18 or even 17 or something like that, and just find them attractive like you would find an older woman attractive, because they've matured physically in that way. And there's a huge difference between that.
Yeah, literally. And look, there's a genre, and there's not a genre, but there's a specific type of character created in a lot of animes and stuff called lolicons. They're basically little girls. They're basically little girls. They're girls that look like little girls, but then they do some shit like, oh, this girl's like 1,000 years old. She's some ancient mystical being, blah, 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 right?
Sure, that's what they do in games as well.
Yeah, and sometimes it's some stuff. I'm not saying a lot of it. And there's a lot of it's almost normal, right? In those communities, like it's normal. It is not as scrutinized enough as like real world pedophilia, when it's pretty much the same thing. Like, yeah, you're not sleeping with real children, but you have this weird attraction to animated looking children. It's fictional, but they're literally drawn as children, and you're attracted to it.
It's very weird.
A lot of people, and it's a lot of them. It's a lot. It's a lot of them. It's a freaking community.
Yeah, that's sick, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But see, it's so normalized. That's why, especially on Twitter, right? I don't take the conversations of people that talk about the age of consent and all that serious, because all these fools have different ages for when you're an adult. And this is why I just say all these countries and the US need to make it a collective number on when you become an adult, whether it be 18 or 21. Y'all need to pick one.
Like something like the UN. Obviously, England wouldn't be part of that now, but they have certain workers' rights that you need to have to join the UN. So you could push an age of sexual consent as well. But as I said, I still think, because they say 21 or something like that, or they said 18,
Yeah.
right, and then a 17-year-old sleeps with a 16-year-old. That 17-year-old can still be like, as the older person, brought charges against them for having done that, and that's ridiculous to me.
Oh yeah, and I agree. That's why I think it's wrong, because even people.
That's why I'm saying
that's why I gave an example earlier where I seen this happen for some people. Called a 19-year-old that was dating an 18-year-old a pedophile. I don't think that person's a pedophile. No, a 19-year-old
and a 16-year-old.
Yeah, well, let's say, and this happens often. There's some people, come out of high school, they just turned 18, their girlfriend is still 17, right? And that person, by law, is technically considered a pedophile, technically. But in my opinion, I don't think it is. That's just a year apart. And also, they was together in high school.
Say they were dating, they were 15, 14, and they stayed together, right? And then suddenly they turn 18, 17. Or, do you know what I'm saying? So exactly what you're talking about is the reason I think it's problematic not to have those brackets in place. They need to be in place.
Well, what DC Dot said, I mean, in a perfect world, that would be nice, but aren't there like countries that still have like things like arranged marriages and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you'll ever get people to agree. Okay, well, the number should be 18. Like, because
and a lot of weird religious stuff.
That's
exactly.
That's why I say in some of these countries, certain countries, I think some of these countries are so backwards in a sense, and even our country, still the U.S., is that we're not too far from the generation of people that was casually sleeping with young people, right? So it's still. Now people are pushing on it harder, especially in the Western world. But most of generation before us, like, and some of them are still alive, they was sleeping with young girls and stuff. They thought young girls, boys. They thought that at the age of 13, that's when you got to start to be a man. Like, isn't it in Jewish culture, like a boy becomes a man at 13?
Oh yeah, you're thinking about
when they have their thing. They think a boy at 13 is an adult, and it's
bar mitzvah.
Their bar mitzvah, and it's like, huh? That's their culture. That's their culture. I'm not trying to bash it, but that's what I'm talking about. Like, some of them living in these, old ways and everything. Especially, and mind you, it was different eras. If people had to grow up at earlier ages, especially in ancient times, right? You had to grow up really fast. You had to grow up real fast, have a family, all that, because the life expectancy was so different. Now we have people living much longer, all that. Science is getting a lot better. Science has even determined that, at the age of 25, that's when your brain is fully developed. People didn't know this years ago, a while back. And they assume, like, no, at 15, you're an adult. Like, nah,
there's a state where you can get married when you're like 13. And I know, like, the politicians were complaining about that because some of the conservatives were trying to uphold that law, and it's like 13 is ridiculously too low to get married. Yes. But I'm trying to find out which state it was.
Dude, you can't even buy a house at the age of 13. You get married.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't even buy a house or get an apartment. You're not even eligible for credit.
Dude, I don't think your balls drop to at least like 19.
Right. And see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, if you can't do stuff like get a house, drive, all that, and you got no business sleeping with someone older than you. And if you're older, you got no business sleeping with no child that can't offer you nothing. Like, y'all can't even really be together.
Again, if the law says you can, then whether I have a problem with it or not, it does not fucking matter. That's my issue here.
Oh no, that's where I'm not disagreeing. Like I said, I may not agree with the laws, but a lot of people agree with these laws, even the people that don't like them. So,
I'm watching this R. Kelly documentary, and I'm trying to figure out, like, they've got all this dark, ominous music going on behind it, like, and I'm waiting
Absolutely.
for the drop.
Oh, here it is.
He's
Missouri.
happy.
It's in Missouri.
And it's all these girls saying he groomed me. I was 19 years old. I'm like, wait, am I missing something here? You're 19 years old. So how is that grooming? Not legally anyway. So that's the kind of issue I have with all of this stuff. And then it's finally got to some things about him locking people up, which I didn't really fully comprehend or exactly how he was doing this, but
Didn't believe none of that. That's the stuff I talk about where it seems like they exaggerate to make it seem like it's worse than it is. You know what I mean?
yeah, like he wasn't feeding them and locking
Right.
them in the
Right.
room and this kind of stuff. I'm like, I didn't really understand all that. I was trying to like wrap my head exact. I remember watching the documentary, kind of like slightly baffled after exactly what they were accusing him of.
They,
All the documentary should have been about, as far as I was concerned, given all the accusations I saw, was really about like his relationship with Leah.
Nerdman, did you know there's a part 2 and 3 of Surviving R. Kelly?
Yeah, I saw the part 1 and 2, but like I'm telling you, at least in part 1 and 2, it was a lot of women just being very suggestive.
Wait.
But like I didn't see anything that
I'm talking about there's 3 different documentaries on it. All right, Saving R. Kelly Part 1, Saving R. Kelly Part 2, Saving R. Kelly Part 3.
You guys, hold up. I gotta introduce him. He is here. He is Major's Black Knight.
Chillmonger.
Our man Chillmonger is here. How should we?
Is he going to ask us 32 questions?
It'll be about Jonathan.
No, I want to give him the perfect red carpet introduction.
Why? None of us
From a
got
brand
one.
that he loves, his favorite brand, DC. Here you go, Chill.
Okay, I'm actually glad I didn't get an introduction.
That is ridiculous. That's
garbage.
DC fan Chillmonger here. Yep, it's good. Chill.
One of the worst movies ever created.
All right, let's get back to Russell Brand. All right, let's not hear no Batman slander up in my stream. I'll not allow that shit.
I can see how when I hopped in, it was an R. Kelly conversation, sort of the same territory of news. Did you guys cover Bill Cosby and what got that started? Like when you disrupt this flow of the system, they come to get you. So
that's what I said.
Thank you, Anzo.
That's exactly what I said.
We're kind of it's in the conversation, so y'all can kind of talk about whatever.
I said, whenever they're done with you, it's like, oh, okay, now we can get you. You know what I mean? When you're not making no more money for them, or you do something that they don't like, they're gonna come for you. They let this stuff go on supposedly for 20 years or however long it happened because they knew it was going to happen. They knew it was happening, but they turned a blind eye until it was time to get them. 100%.
I think that's part of it. I really do, but I also think there's cases like you were bringing in Jonathan Majors into that kind of situation, and I don't think that really applies to him because he actually. And as much as I think that the woman's full of shit, right? Like, or the prosecution are full of shit, it's actually a legal case against. It's not, journalists have certainly picked up on it, but it's an legal proceeding is happening against him, as opposed to
Russell
journalists doing an expose, right? And just on the basis of
journalists did do an expose on him. What are you talking about? They did.
Dude,
it just wasn't in video form, but they did an expose on him. They tried to trash him in many articles. Chill does a video where he shows all the articles they did trying to trash him.
Dude, we could go behind closed doors, right? Like off stream. all talk together and come up with manufacture some story about how every time Chillmonger comes on the show, or every time he's off stream, he shows us his dick. You know, it's like, and then
He
just
does.
saying, like,
I
and just
don't know
put that on
what
social
your
media out
infatuation
there.
with
It's
people's
just it's a
penises,
weird
bro.
thing to do that you just go, oh, someone does this. So, you know, when we accuse them of all this shit that we weren't even there to see, like these journalists weren't there to actually see this, and then just on the basis of that, the guys, you know, take off.
The journalists
see,
weren't there to see what happened to John Majors either.
Here's the thing: would the companies, the BBC or whatever it is, whatever companies did the documentaries that you saw, Nerdman, would they be dumb enough to say something that they don't like? Can't you? Wouldn't, if the allegations weren't true, wouldn't Russell Brand be able to sue them for libel?
Oh, sure, but so they still do it. They did it against Michael Jackson. They didn't give a fuck. Saving Neverland, Channel 4. They didn't give a fuck.
But unfortunately he's dead, so he can't do anything to. And I don't know what his estate did to prove that those idiots were lying.
Johnny Depp tried to sue them for slandering him, and the media won that one. It's going to be really hard to unprove something. It's hard to prove that he did these things. Also hard to unprove.
As long as they go allegedly, as long as they say words like allegedly, and this is, you know, we reached out to Russell for comment, but he didn't want to comment. As long as they do their due diligence in terms of reporting it, then
how long was the show?
It's hard to actually sue them for slander. They've got freedom of speech. This is what I was talking about in the reparations thing.
Wait, they got freedom of speech over there?
Same rights as individuals, except what freedom of speech means to me and you is a completely different thing to a multi-billion-dollar corporation. You know, so it's the power level that they have to enact freedom of speech is far greater than you know, what we were thinking of when we had those rights.
So wait, were the women on this special, were they American or were they British?
They were British, according to the actors who played them. The majority
okay, so where are when everything goes to trial and all that, where is that going to be?
I don't know if there's going to be a trial. Nothing's been stated about there being any kind of trial. The police have said, please come forward if you know any of this is if you've got an accusation, come forward so that we can investigate it, because there's no statute of limitation when it comes to sexual assault in the UK. However, nobody so far seems to be pursuing, you know, criminal action against him, which makes it even worse.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's why I'm saying it's becoming a new form of McCarthyism. And
but it's almost like they know what to do. I mean, meaning the people that initiated all of this, because like, you know, the court of public opinion and all that, because you got people out here saying, oh no, he's innocent, you know, I know he didn't do it. Like, well, how do you know he didn't do it? And then there's people out there saying he did it, and it's like, well, how do you know he did?
Right
It's like this is more situations designed to keep us at each other's throats, depending on our belief system, or especially because the way people are looking into the government and all that stuff nowadays, and his stance with, you know, what he was doing on his channels.
You mean
it's
like
it's like with the oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
He would talk about the virus and that we should be questioning if it leaked out of a lab. And then he would point at all the pharmaceutical companies who, like, if the research for, I think it was Moderna, but one of them was American, right? Moderna might have been the one. The research that Moderna had was paid for by the tax. Mike?
Or Pfizer.
Okay. I think Pfizer's foreign. I think they're German.
Is it? Yeah.
So
yeah, Pfizer is probably German. It's a German name anyway.
They would be paid by American taxpayer dollars. but when it came to the product being used, it was sold, it was for profit. That's not okay. Like Russell Brand would point this out. He'd be on Bill Maher, and there's clips of him saying these things Bill was like, okay, all right, like trying to cut this guy off because he's speaking too much truth and exposing. And this isn't like tribalistic right wing, left wing stuff. It's kind of stuff everybody could agree on. But he's been dedicating the last 2-3 years on exposing
that kind of stuff. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. And the guy, I don't agree with everything he has to say. I agree with some of what he has to say. I think he's clearly a very intelligent guy, a very lucid guy, and whatever. And this isn't a defense of him. I'm just saying, like, this is what he appears to be to me. And he comes across on his channel, if not knowledgeable, but very eloquent, right? So I've always kind of like, I think, he's a relatively cool guy. That does not affect my opinion one single iota as to how I approach when, the media, decide that they're going to go after someone. Because as you're saying, there is suspicion to believe that they're going after him because he's been saying all these things. But there is also suspicion for me, which I think is more likely than the more conspiratorial thing. I think that's definitely part of it. But there's the big suspicion for me is that it's because of this age of how we've encouraged and empowered people to use social media and the media as a tool, to titillate people with these, stories of these, abusive men behind, these exposés on these guys, and a bunch of feminists who are angry, maybe for right reasons, because of how they've been treated in past, are taking this moment to go after those who have offended their sensibilities in some ways. And there are a lot of those guys in journalism. A lot of those guys grew up 70s, 80s, feminist movements, blah, blah, blah. A lot of them growing up in the universities now, preaching these kind of feminist kind of ideas. I have not got a problem with those feminist ideas. Don't get me wrong. But when it encroaches on people's rights, that's where I start to have a problem.
When did Me Too start?
16?
2016.
2016, and it did a lot of good, like with the Harvey Weinstein stuff.
When that Ghostbusters movie came out, man, that was such a pivotal year in history. When Ghostbusters came out, Me Too came out. Damn.
Really?
That movie. Yeah.
Was it 2016 Me Too? Because I remember it.
Nah, it was 20. Well, it probably was 2015, but it definitely was super. It was out there in the media in 2016. Probably started the year before. Well, let me actually look up when the media.
Can I ask you something? Did every girl on your Facebook during that Me Too thing, when it came up, every single girl, well, probably like at least 90% of them came out on Facebook and told some kind of thing that said #MeToo?
See, I just saw everyone say the word "Me Too," and I didn't know anything about Hollywood or who started it. But I was after like a couple of them, I'm like, "What's going on? What's happening?" And I read one, and it was a story of I was at a place at a time, and it was uncomfortable, and I had to get out of there. Me too. And so all women are saying me, and I believed it right away. I wasn't going like, "Nah, not you. Oh, surely you would, and you're too big." Like I never had those thoughts. I was just like, "Yeah, that makes sense. Women go through this."
Okay.
I wasn't suspecting the accusations.
Here, listen to this. Listen to this. This came out October 7, 2022. A video by Russell Brand that focused on the NIH and COVID-19 was taken down by YouTube last week, prompting the comedian to shift his live streams to a different streaming platform called Rumble. In this video, Brand had said that the NIH were recommending the use of ivermectin, even though the U.S. agency was simply trialing its efficacy against COVID-19. This went against YouTube's COVID-19 medical misinformation policy, which prohibits content that spreads misinformation that contradicts local health authorities' medical information. In a reaction video posted on YouTube, Brand said that the video was removed because it, quote, cited information on official government websites which we misinterpreted. The comedian has now registered his dissent on YouTube and Rumble, saying, "We have officially been censored by YouTube." He continued, "They took down one of our videos for misinformation, but why are big media organizations not censored for misinformation in the same way? Is it because YouTube are part of the mainstream media now?" Brand had issued an apology on YouTube for the video, but later took the apology video down, saying in a YouTube short that it was deleted to mirror YouTube's decision, and he wanted to avoid any risk of accidentally repeating the claim about NIH again.
Exactly.
What NIH, by the way? Because
hold on, there's one more sentence. There's one more sentence. In the same short, Brand showed an example of YouTube's alleged partiality to mainstream media by showing a clip of an MSNBC correspondent making a statement that he claims to be misinformation. So,
talking about when Rachel Maddow said, if you take it, it stops it, as if the spread and everything isn't going to continue because of this vaccine. That's why I don't like using the word vaccine for this thing. But no, it does not give you anybody immunity. But she said it at the time. Rachel Maddow said it back in 21.
Is it national immunization and
National Institute of Health? They're the ones who.
National Institute of Health, of course. Sorry.
So he would point out, and yeah, Jack's Law. He does talk more about other things like the war and the for-profit system. But I mean, during the time, there was something called gain of function research. Does everyone know what that is? Short story, it's when you create a virus purposely just so that you can create the cure for it. So that should this ever happen in natural settings, like if a bat really does mutate and blah, 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 then you already have the antidote for it. He would talk about how NIH participated in gain of function research in Wuhan, in that lab. There's proof of it. And then never mind, man. I don't want to say the wrong thing because for misinformation, but he would pull out the documents and he would prove it. And he would tell you guys that this is something that Obama was against. And then here comes Trump, and that the restrictions were lifted. And a couple years later, Bob's your uncle.
Wow.
And
so yeah, I mean,
wait. I did want to mention this.
But Onzo, what do you make of that? Do you think that that's the reason that there is this assault on him, because like the left felt like betrayed by him somehow, like by saying this?
I don't even know about saying betrayed. It's just like I said, if you go against the narrative, if you go against what they want, they're gonna get you. It's just that simple. And I think they also set people up to get got. You know what I mean? Because they know who people are, right? Don't think Hollywood doesn't do these exclusive checks on you, find out what you like, what you do, this and that, because sooner or later they know they may have to get you. And if they do, they'll always have information on you.
The Denzel Washington folders.
Here's the thing. If you're on the verge of becoming a celebrity, just find a nice woman and just stay with her, because
they're still gonna try and dig up your past, bro.
Look, if you're gonna be a celebrity, get you a woman that's in your bracket. Don't get with someone who's not within your circle.
I wouldn't even do that, bro. Honestly, like this is because Russell Brand, as much as I'm like, I feel one way or the other about him, I can't help but feel like he brought this on himself. Like the things he was doing.
I mean, with the video you showed me, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked that he actually did it, because some of the behavior kind of goes like, maybe he did do this.
I mean, have there been any other like allegations to this level before with him?
No,
I think he's the allegations.
I mean, it's the first I'm hearing about any allegations.
Well known about his behavior, like he'd get naked in his radio show or something like that, which he was broadcasting saying it. he's getting naked in front of this, chick or whatever. I don't know. It's weird stuff. And in the end of the day, I didn't know about that until these recent allegations because I didn't follow him on his radio show and stuff like that. But he was a kind of shock jock, before he kind of, but he cleaned, whatever you want to call it. That doesn't make it okay that he did those things in past. But apparently he accepted that he has like some kind of sex addiction or whatever and drug addiction, and he went to rehab and he sorted out of his life, and he's rebranded himself, no pun intended, in recent times as what he is now, but he always had that sense of like being political as well as being shocking as well. It's just that he's like more focused on the political stuff now than he was in the early 2000s and stuff.
All right, real quick. Let me get to these comments real quick. I take offense to Danny's first comment here. He said 2 MCU haters. To be fair, Danny, I love 5 MCU movies, so I'm not an MCU hater. A current Black Panther hater, recast T'Challa. A Boba Fett hater. That show sucked. Someone who clearly thinks he's a versus champion. I think that's for Anzo. Anzo, that's for you.
No, that's for Mike.
Oh, that's for Mike. Oh shoot, fighting word. And then he said, "Just cool."
Hey, why am I not a Black Panther hater? What?
That was good with you, Danny.
I mean, he's talking about.
Danny, I like 5 MC movies, so I'm clearly
he's
not
talking about the MCU movie when he says a Black Panther hater. He's talking about the 70s kind of like.
I'm not a Black Panther hater. I wish that they made a Black Panther sequel.
Dude, I'm not an MCU hater.
Yes, you are.
At all.
Yes,
I don't know where this is coming from.
I'm just a hater of bad films, and they make a lot of bad
you're
films.
an MCU hater, hands down.
I've reviewed those films fairly.
Never.
Down the line.
Never went.
Down the line. And it's
never went.
Why did he like Guardians 3?
Haters.
Never went.
True, Nerman did like Guardians 3.
Because he couldn't. He had nothing he could say bad about it, right? He had nothing he could say bad about it.
Because it's actually a good film, unlike the others.
He had nothing he could say bad about it. It was a good film. But Nerman fucking likes all these other MCU movies too. He liked Black Widow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Black Widow was good, so I didn't say anything bad about it. But everyone else,
you did. You still criticize it.
No, I did not. I criticized it for her being too like invulnerable, but that was it.
She was hurt, man. Her plot armor was crazy in that movie. But hey, that's that Black. To be fair, she had it since day one, but that plot armor was thick.
That film was a mess.
That plot armor was so thick. I was like, guys, dang. When she hit that
pole,
when she hit the pole, then she fell on that drain thing, and then she just landed on her knees like it's normal. Like, what the fuck?
You never seen a Jeff Hardy match?
Guess what? I criticized it about the Batman as well. Same thing when the Batman.
Wait. Batman's cool, so you can get away with that shit.
No, you think the Batman is a masterpiece. That's where you're wrong.
Well, it is.
No, it's not.
No.
It's damn near.
Maybe if they had an actual director, then it would have been a masterpiece.
It's a masterpiece of caca. That's what it is.
Here, man.
And then we talk about the Nolan movies, and the Nolan movies you think are masterpieces too.
Oh, they are. Those movies was crafted
those
movies were crafted by Zeus and
just like he came back and he took out all your MCU trash.
With what?
Oppenheimer. He took out all of the MCU trash with Oppenheimer.
Oh my god. We're talking about superhero movies, bro, not Oppenheimer.
The Dark Knight is better than every fucking MCU movie.
You are out of your mind. You need to stop smoking. You need to stop smoking that Nerdman crack and save it for K-Dot.
Yeah, the Dark Knight isn't, but Sin City is better than every MCU film.
As
you
well.
Need to shut the fuck up either, too, Cole.
Yeah, absolutely.
You stop smoking
I'm
that
good.
shit. Oh, time to go, nerd man.
Hold on, let me get this.
The ball and chain son, you gotta get off that fucking internet now, right?
Oh wait, let me get the Susie's call. I want to comment on this.
Why was
She
that so
said-
personal?
She said, "I find it absurd. People are calling me a grape apologist." Oh, Susie, you can write rape on here. Yeah, it's not what it's not TikTok.
I think YouTube will censor the comments.
they
if
will.
do.
Oh, okay. Well, calling me a rape apologist, yeah, I'm gonna say it. For simply saying I don't know what is true, it need to be taken to court. Yeah, like, and a lot of people, especially during these court situations, if you stay neutral, they assume you agree already when you could probably disagree, but you're just staying silent because you want to wait until everything comes to light. And I think everybody should do that. Shit, stop picking a side, because at the end of the day, there was people who thought Emmett Till was guilty of the crime he did, and guess
Wait, he
what?
wasn't?
And guess what? Those people, as I was saying, but there were some people thought he was guilty. Those people look dumb as fuck. I mean, they was dumb as fuck. They was racist, but like they really from jump, assumed this kid was guilty, and look what they did.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I'll go on the other way. I'll go on the other way and say I'll go on the other way. I'll go on the other way and say that when video comes out showing no bruises or a broken finger, you have no choice but to say there's innocence there.
Right.
Yeah. I was saying Miss Susie Goebbels is my favorite fascist. Him and
we'll
Tony
say
Stark.
no one gives a shit about what you think.
Him and Tony Stark. Anyway.
Nerdman said there wasn't enough good white people in Blue Beetle.
Facts.
Hey, George Lopez was funny as fuck in that movie.
I don't. Blue Beetle's another one. I mean, that was a basic. That was a basic MCU movie,
but no. You loved Blue Beetle, man. Let's not cap. You loved Blue Beetle.
I didn't love it.
No, he didn't hate it. I was shocked.
Yes,
I was shocked he didn't hate it. I was waiting for him to hate it.
Yes, you did.
He liked it. He didn't love it, but he liked it.
Blue Beetle was great. I loved it. I loved the story.
No. I was just like saying it's once again. It's like this. If this was an MCU movie, it'd be like, oh, maybe nowadays they'd told the truth. But if that was an MCU movie, like
you would have
about
hated it.
Everyone would be going, "Oh my god, the MCU's done it again! Look, this time they've done this."
It. No. If it was an MCU movie, you would have hated it.
Come on, bro.
If it was an MCU movie, you would have hated it.
No, I wouldn't.
I mean, Blue Beetle was better than most MCU movies, regardless. So
Blue Beetle's better than Thor 1. It's better than it's about as I'd say the same.
It's
as
better
Captain
than Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Cap 1, Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man 3. It's better than
1.
Hell, I'll watch that over Civil War.
I like the whole Spider-Man trilogy. It's better than every single one of that Spider-Man trilogy in the MCU.
Including No Way Home?
Yeah.
Say it, Nerdman. Say it.
You're stupid. You're stupid.
I'm not being
He's
stupid.
right though. He's not even wrong.
No, you guys are stupid.
Wait. So just because our movie doesn't have Toby and Andrew,
you guys are stupid.
Wow. All right, if Toby and Andrew was in Blue Beetle, you
guys are stupid.
Why is that?
You don't even believe that shit.
I do believe it.
I didn't love it. I'm telling you, I would give it about a 63%.
I think you gave it higher than that.
63%.
Yeah. No. Okay, I'll say the write-in.
No,
the writing and such is better in Blue Beetle, but everything else, like the acting and filmmaking and overall film, is better in No Way Home. It is.
Exactly.
No Way Home is garbage because of the writing, but everything else is better than Blue Beetle in it.
Is a movie more than
I'll
writing?
agree with you on that. The writing is better and directing's on par. It's just a stupid superhero movie. It's a generic stupid superhero movie, but that's fine, my whole thing has always been about the hypocrisy of how people put up MCU movies. I'm not saying they're bad movies. I'm just saying they're average movies. They're not great movies like people make out. That's all I've been saying.
How the fuck do
Yeah,
you
that's
get into
true.
all these anyway?
That's not hating. That's just saying what
No,
they
no,
are.
you're a hater. We know that. Don't even try and front,
Yes,
nerd man.
their
You're an
musical
MCU
scores are not
You're
good.
an
Their
MCU
villains
hater.
aren't
Let's
good.
stop denying
Yeah,
it. We
come on,
know.
bro.
We
MCU do
know.
be
Be
lacking with
honest
the
about
music.
it.
Just
They do be
own
lacking
it.
with the music.
All you gotta do is own it. K-Dot owns it.
You
K-Dot
literally stick up
owns
for
it.
Ant-Man
Just own it.
Quantumania.
Just own your stuff, nerd man. Just own it.
You stick up for Ant-Man Quantumania.
Just-
That's all I've
just
got
own
to say
it.
about it.
Just
Look,
own it, nerd
look,
man.
all right. We gotta at least be honest about one thing. At least one thing for sure, as far as Marvel goes. They have not had an iconic Spider-Man theme since the Tobey movies. Andrew, Tom, they have no iconic Spider-Man.
No.
They don't have any iconic
No.
things like Batman or
Spider-Man
Superman
has a
right
theme.
now, as far as movies go.
Cares?
And don't stop there. They never had an iconic theme.
Toby does.
No, I mean MCU. They never had an
Oh,
iconic
yeah.
theme.
They
in the
never have.
first place.
Even Andrew, like it was just
Yeah, no, the
they
closest
just
one was
reused the
Incredible
same
Hulk.
theme
Wait,
over and over.
What? So Captain America's theme isn't iconic?
What's his
It's
theme?
fine.
Iron
It
Man
wasn't
doesn't
that.
really have-
No.
Cap
Iron
have.
Man's theme ain't. What do you mean Cap has? Yes, he does.
No, he does, but like it's not a song. It's not a
What's
theme I
his
remember.
theme?
That
Uh,
Avenger theme isn't.
The Avengers theme is for sure.
The Avengers theme is okay. It's not great. It's okay.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
it's definitely an iconic thing.
Yeah, because of all the
It's one
movies
of
and
the
the
few iconic
popularity, the
Marvel
score
ones.
itself isn't. Like
Yes,
the
it is.
closest would be the Incredible Hulk score.
Wait,
It was okay. Yeah, the Incredible
Incredible
Hulk was
Hulk
okay.
score.
The movie was terrible, but
That
that
Incredible
movie was
Hulk
not
score wasn't
terrible.
memorable.
Stop your noise.
Black
At least
Panther
it
had
was
a
rated.
Black
Great.
Panther 1 had a memorable score.
No, it was just an MCU score of fucking like bongos and shit. Like,
And,
what are you talking about?
Oh
Black
my
Panther's score.
gosh.
Black Panther's score was just a bunch of hip hop songs. What are we talking about here? That's what Black Panther's score was.
Hey,
I
it
love
was,
Black
it was,
Panther.
hey, it was.
I never understood. Why
was
did
still-
it get an Oscar nomination? The score.
No, it won the Oscar for score. It's hilarious.
Did it
Because it had the
That's
best
Yeah.
album of the
crazy.
MCU. It had the best album of the MCU. That's fact.
No.
It did.
That
Iron
movie
Man-
was bland, dude. Like I don't know. I don't
No.
get it. It's
I
because he
like
did
Ludwig's
this is the
scores, but that
bullshit,
one
you
was
see?
his. No.
This is the
See,
bullshit.
Nervin, I was with you, man, and then you just had to go and say that shit. Come on, man.
No, dude. Let's be honest. It's because he's black.
No,
Oh
it's
my
not just because he's black.
God, You see? You see?
You're lying.
You see? You
I
see the
understand it, bro. All right,
You see the
Killmonger was
bullshit?
all right. I'll give you that. He was all right, but the movie's bland, dude. It's,
You see that shit?
Look,
It
look.
is.
Where is
All right,
Chill?
Nervin, can you at
Where's
least agree
Chill?
it's better than Wakanda Forever?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
And that was one of the worst films ever. Of course it
Wow.
is.
I believe Nerdman at one point said Wakanda Forever was better than the original Black Panther.
I never
Fuck,
said
I'd
that.
have to
Nah, he
go
never said
find
that. He
that.
never said
I
that.
believe he
I
said that
never said
sometime.
that. Not once.
Yeah, I think he said that.
Better at
I mean,
exploiting.
I was trying to
He
I was
just
trying to
ascribed
spin that
shit to me.
narrative.
I'm saying I didn't say it, and he's just ascribing
Yeah,
shit.
because I know
like,
you lie though. You lie though.
No, I
That's
don't
why.
lie.
Chill.
I've
Did
never
you hear
said
the stuff?
that. I didn't even. I wasn't even able to get
Chillmonger,
through
did you
that.
hear the
film.
stuff he was saying about Black Panther?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Okay, that's all
Yeah.
I want to know.
He's definitely not on code. He doesn't have any integrity either.
Black card revoked.
Wait a
Yeah,
second.
I agree with WZ.
Chillmonger,
Of course you
don't
do.
don't get it twisted with what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's a little bland. I don't think it's bad. I think it's a little bland. That's there's a
All
big
I
difference.
hear right now is
Yes,
Jonathan
wah,
Majors
wah,
is
wah.
guilty. Emmett Till did it. That's all I'm hearing.
Facts.
Bunch of words.
100%.
All lives matter. That's what all I'm hearing right now.
Facts.
I'll give you this. It's one of the better
well, they
MCU
do.
movies. K-Dots, will you accept that
And-
from me?
and that
It's
part-
one of the
and
better
chill.
MCU
And that part was
movies.
I have a black friend.
Wait, which one?
Black Panther is one of the better MCU movies, but
Oh yeah,
other than
definitely
that,
top
I
top
still
top
think
10.
it's
I'd
good.
honestly say top 5. Black Panther 1.
Yeah, man.
Top 5 of the MCU.
Why did you say
Top
Black
five
Panther
Panther
any
one?
Arnold Schwarzenegger 80s
Oh,
movie.
because only one Black Panther
Because
we
there's
acknowledged.
two.
Yeah.
Give me
There's only
any
one
Arnold
Black Panther.
Schwarzenegger 80s movie. Give me the Running
I
Man.
just
Better
You
than
can-
Black
you
Panther?
compare- Running Man's way better than Black Panther. It's not even close.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I'm
look,
talking
I'm
about-
not completely biased to the movie. Like, I got Blade 1 and 2 over Black Panther. Well, Black
Thank
Panther's
you.
up there.
Thank
It's up
you. For
there.
God's sake, say that from the rooftops, baby. Come on, bro.
I was literally just watching Blade 2 like 2 hours earlier before this stream.
Wow.
Good ass movie. Entertaining.
Chill, Blade
Yeah.
2 is better than Black Panther?
No. All I hear right now is I voted for Obama twice.
For real.
Wait.
Listen,
Chill. How
almost
many,
anything could be better.
chill. You don't think Blade 2 is better than Black Panther 1?
Yeah. Black Panther is better.
How many
What?
times have you seen Blade 2?
Maybe once in my life fully.
To be
That's
fair, I don't
Oh,
think
You,
God.
you need to rewatch peak cinema again.
I'll
You only
pass.
seen
Blade
Blade 2
1 is
once.
better. Blade 1 is definitely better. I don't know about
Toxic
Blade 2.
Avenger is better. Come on now.
Oh, shut up.
Yo,
Now
get
you're
rid
better.
of Cole, please. Get him out of here.
Now you're
And
better.
what's with your picture,
Gotta
Cole?
go.
Huh? Are you projecting something with that picture there on your avatar? Hmm?
I just noticed that's Chaz.
Yeah.
You got
Who is
them
that?
eyes for nerd man, eh? Look at you. You're looking at
What?
nerd man's soul with that picture, bro.
I was mostly joking. No matter what you're gonna get hate, I find it ridiculous to slut shame a man or to shame a man for choosing not to have sex. Sorry, I was just looking at a comment.
Yeah.
That wasn't my personal inner thoughts. just to make clear. Yeah, man. Like, look,
Watching.
I think in the end people are being way too critical of comic book movies. I feel like I'm guilty of even adding to that chorus of
100%.
bullshit.
You're like the number one reason.
No, but I was reacting. I was being defensive against movies that I thought were being unfairly maligned by fans of another company who were making also mediocre movies. I've always said I thought both DC and MCU movies in the last 10-20 years have been, broadly speaking, mediocre. It's not one company or the other, so yeah, but as comic book fans, I just think the fact that we've turned against all these movies now, and when they go out of fashion and when they're no longer, people aren't funding them anymore, they're not like, we can blame ourselves.
That's already happened, Nerdman. How much do you think the Captain Marvel 2 movie will make? The first made 1.1. The second might reach 600, maybe?
Who knows?
Oh no, Nerdman has to go. He got to go support his buddy in the movie. Wait,
I've
Nerdman, since your buddy in the movie, how many
decided
times
not
are you
to.
supporting it?
I've decided not to.
Yeah.
Why?
I can't do it. I'm just not watching Captain Marvel again. I can't do it. Look.
I don't know. You got to do at least one watch for your. I mean, she's with Tom Hiddleston. You got to like hook her up.
She's fine.
Pay for
man.
one ticket.
It looks like she's doing fine. I might do. Who
Or
knows?
Nerdman,
Who
she support. She might, put you in.
Who knows? I might do in the end, but like, I'm busy at the moment. You know what I'm saying? And especially like the thing is, I feel so fucking fucked off by the Shazam shit, the Shazam Fury of the Gods, that I feel like punishing like any other film, MCU film from now on.
I agree. I'm with you on it. I mean, specifically the Marvels.
You're gonna punish an MCU movie because DC made a garbage movie. Wow.
Nah, DC made a solid movie.
Wow.
They made a really good
Horrible.
superhero movie.
It's just 'cause you haters.
It just they just hated on it. Like they came down and like fucking like
Look,
Loki.
Alonzo, it's not even
No,
it's not even a DC DCEU and MCU thing. It's about Marvel DC thing. You Marvel people have held on to that Captain Marvel name for too freaking long, taking it away from DC when that's our name. That's our guy.
Hold on. So Marvel fans support our movies whether we think they're gonna be garbage or not. DC fans don't. And you're mad because the DC fans
I'm mad at the DC fans as well.
Because they didn't go support Shazam. So you want to boycott Marvel movies because DC fans didn't go see their
I'm mad
own
at
shit.
the DC fans as well. But the fact that MCU fans, and I know it, I know for a fact, I've seen them online go, you know, like the ones who are like, oh, Ant-Man and Quantumania was fucking awesome. And then they start criticizing.
It was better than Shazam.
Anything in the Shazam movie.
Better than Shazam.
So you know what? I'm done with it. Even DC, dude. Like, if it isn't a movie I'm interested in now, I'm done. If it ain't a character I'm interested in, I'm done with it. Like, I'm fed up with all of the fucking bullshit around
because
these movies.
Know that they're usually garbage, so you might as well just wait for it to come.
Yeah, they're whack.
Yeah,
and Shazam, actually, Fury of the Gods, and even what was the other one that I liked from DC recently? Oh, The Flash. Actually, fairly good movies.
No,
you know, and it's just like, and it's everything that people were asking DC to do. That's what really fucks me off about it. All of these people, oh, the DC is too dark. They need to be more lighthearted. They need to try and appeal more to like. And then they do that, and then they fucking crucify them for it. So,
well, that's not necessarily true. They didn't do what DC fans wanted because they all wanted the Snyderverse restored.
That's also true.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's also true. And I think that was
look. Honestly,
that's why I don't respect the Warner Brothers as well. In some ways, like there's a time when you just have to be like, even if you don't bring back Zack Snyder, you need to finish your fucking story. You know, that's what messed it up because there's no continuity between it, and people just don't care anymore.
Well, honestly, I don't know why either DC or Marvel puts himself in a box with these movies because they both could all benefit from variety, same as their books. Like literally, you can go to Marvel and read Old Man Logan, which is some of the nastiest shit you would ever see in a comic book. Got little incest in it, and then you can go read like a lighthearted Squirrel Girl comic. And it's not all in the same universe, but it's like in the same multiverse and shit. It's like it's all exists together. Like, I don't know. DC shouldn't paint itself into a picture, shouldn't back itself into a corner where we're like the darker super movies. And Marvel shouldn't just rely on being lighthearted, like do everything. Be like the real world in the sense where there's doom and gloom. It's you know, it's just do a variety of it, honestly.
Yeah.
But hopefully, you know, hopefully Marvel moves out of that corner and hopefully DC just does what their stories are. Like you have light and you got dark. It all exists in one world. That's how it should be. Shouldn't be one or the other.
Brought up the MCU, by the way, because I wanted to. I was hoping to have one stream where this bullshit doesn't come up. Somebody brought this up.
I mean, you brought up the Ant-Man Quantumania thing.
I think
no. Somebody brought. I was reacting to somebody else.
I think it was me. I don't know.
I thought we could go through one stream without like.
Well. Look, let's do this.
Oh, it's because of the comment.
Instead of talking about
Danny.
instead of talking about the basic comic book. Oh yeah, Danny started it. They're talking about the basic comic book movies. You guys know they're doing a Hellboy reboot. And it was. I
think they already did a second reboot already.
No, they're doing another.
Let's just the comic book movies not only are dead, they possibly have killed Hollywood. Have you seen what's happening out there in these streets, man? They're on a fucking thing, and they're not even gonna. What do you call it? What's the writers' strike or whatever?
It was actually supposed to settle Thursday.
And they ain't settling. I think it's done, bro. It's finished. Just enjoy the old ones, man. If you enjoy Infinity War,
They need to do
go
more
back and watch
animated
that
ones.
shit. I don't think they're doing anything.
Comic movies aren't dead. It's just people are finally they need something different again. That's all. You need
No.
you need to change shit up.
Movies are getting too expensive. People are picking and
I mean, that's
choosing
also
which
part of
movies
it.
they are going to go see now. They're not just going to go see a Marvel movie and then next week go see a DC movie and then the week after that go see like a Mission Impossible movie. It's too expensive. So now people are picking and choosing which movies they want to see, what's worth spending their money.
Look,
And that's gonna kill him.
Let me show you guys. Let me show you guys a
People
guarantee.
aren't accepting, like they won't accept anything but the best. Right? It's got a 200 million budget. Special effects have to be off the hook. Everything. And that's just for them to fucking stream it. Like on a like one of these, Onzo Vision, bootleg. Let alone see it in the cinemas.
Hey, look, I've been watching that Ahsoka on bootleg, man. That shit good on bootleg. Not gonna lie.
I support all the movies.
Guaranteed billion if they do a third movie. Guaranteed billion with Ron Perlman. Guaranteed.
Oh no.
They're rebooting Hellboy.
Oh no. Both of those movies
I missed
are garbage.
that. They're rebooting Hellboy.
Alonzo, you're a trip. Hellboy 1 and 2.
The originals aren't garbage. Come on now.
Both Hellboys are garbage.
No,
they had issues, but they were solid.
No, they're garbage. Garbage.
They were kind of. I like the directing style, but I thought the character is kind of lame. To be honest,
Yeah,
I don't think
they didn't do the
I
greatest
think
job
they
with
did
the
the character as well as you could do, but I just think that character's lame.
Yeah, but the films themselves.
I mean,
are
I'm no
well-made,
fan of
even
Hell.
if
I'm no
they're
fan of
very
Hellboy,
serious,
but those movies for sure made me, like the character to an extent.
Nope.
I'm not a fan of him in general as a character,
nothing for
but
me.
those movies did it for me.
No,
But it's mainly Ron Perlman. That he got that.
He was good as Hellboy, but the movie itself, both of them, are garbage. They're boring and stupid.
No, I'm gonna have to not co-sign Onzo, but like there's something about them where it's just like whatever, dude. Like I'm not watching that again.
See, that's what this.
It wasn't. I was entertained as I was watching it, but I didn't feel compelled to go back and watch any of them. Kind of like a lot of MCU movies.
These are the comic book movies we need again. Good practical stuff.
Well,
I like
Hellboy is
that.
better than any DCEU movie. That's for sure.
Whoa, you taking it too far,
man.
What?
Look, it's better than all the bad ones. It's better than BVS. It's not better than the good ones.
It's better than those Nolan movies.
Hey, I'm tired of being a self-hate. Look, I think Batman v Superman is better than 50%. More than.
No, Nerman, you're correct. It is. I don't like BVS, but it is.
BVS is trash. What are you talking about?
No. It's trash, but it's better than the MCU trash.
Your stream is gonna get taken down for misinformation when you talk that
dude. I will take Batman v Superman over any of them Spider-Man movies.
And Nerdman's gonna be the reason why your stream gets taken down.
I'm telling you, bro. I'll take it over Endgame. That's facts.
Shut up.
No, don't raise your eyebrows at me.
No, it's not facts.
Honestly,
over Hellboy, over Endgame any day, man.
I'll be honest. No MCU film isn't even as good as this, and I'm not joking.
That's true. Yeah,
that's a fact.
I'm not even joking.
That's
this is
a
better Well, it's not even based on comic book, but it's a better superhero movie than half of them.
It's fantastic,
and it's better than every single DC movie.
I would take Meteor Man over Ant-Man, dude. Both.
I would take Ant-Man. I would take Blank Man and Meteor Man over every single DCEU movie, like every single one of them.
See, this is the problem with us, though, because we're ridiculous right now.
Those are facts.
Because the more I know what it is, especially with Onzo, the more you like a movie, the more I have to hate it, and vice versa, and it's just bullshit. Although This is absolutely true. But if I remember correctly, I enjoyed this movie more than
pretty
a lot of
dope.
MCU movies. I'm not. That's not even a
Yes,
lie.
Meteor Man is better than every DCEU movie, 100%.
Now, what about Howard the Duck?
Oh, better than
I
every
don't know about
DCEU
Howard.
movie.
Howard
100%.
is trash.
No, I
Better
don't
than
know
every
about Howard the
DCE
Duck.
movie, 100%. Huh?
No,
You got duck titties in that shit? Yeah, you're damn right.
Yeah.
Hey, Anzo, would you take a Meteor Man reboot if they did it?
Absolutely. But you got to get someone in there good though. I don't want to seem like no stupid Kevin Hart or some bullshit.
Oh yeah, Kevin Hart would ruin that shit.
I'll be honest. I would only take the reboot if it's from somebody I was born around that time. So
Tyrese.
Like directing it, like Spike Lee or any of the OG black directors.
Spike Lee doing Meteor Man.
No, here's the thing. The only thing,
anyway,
Kevin Hart's too short. But I was gonna say Kevin Hart has done some good movies, like the one with Wesley Snipes, Fatherhood. So he has done those good movies where he's not the same as in his comedy movies. But the problem is this would be a comedy, and they would try and give us that regular Kevin Hart shit that I don't think is good for it.
I think they turn it into something like the Green Hornet. Like it's just
that was a decent film.
80s.
What?
No, but this film really worked for the 80s, whereas I don't know if it would work for now. Like that's the problem with it.
Yeah.
Like the
80s. The biggest problem would be how they're going to approach the comedy. Because I'll be honest with you, look, there's a term. It's the old blacks and the new blacks. I don't want to see none of the new blacks directing this movie. I want to see some old black. Get a new black actor up in here. But it needs to be an old black director.
Please not Spike Lee.
You know who
I would
good?
Cole, I would take Spike Lee.
Stanfield would be good as the Meteor
Spike
Man.
Lee can F off. How about that?
Aubrey James is coming out swinging. He says Steel is better than all the MCU.
We're ignoring that. I want to talk about Lakeith Stanfield, who is a villain. He's a villain actor. I never want to watch
Lakeith.
Lakeith.
I have to disagree with him. I think Steel is going a bit too far.
Hold on, let me hear what you'll say.
I want to always watch Lakeith Stanfield playing villains because he's not a good guy actor. He always is the guy who makes my skin curl.
Nah, but
he's good.
He played
one coming up where he's a good
hero, but what's that movie where he's working as one of those telemarketers?
Sorry to bother you.
Oh yeah.
He's not a villain.
That was pretty good.
He's not a hero exactly, but
He's
not. That's the first movie I walked out of. Right when the horses happened, I walked out.
Yeah, that movie was ridiculous.
By the way, what would they call a non-binary superhero? Because, say, they wanted to reboot Meteor Man as non-binary, right?
They would call him Nerdman.
Just in reply to Aubrey.
But not every superhero has the word "man" at the end. Like the Hulk has just a big word, Hulk.
So it'd just be Meteor.
No, fuck that. Meteor Man. Why the fuck we gotta change that shit for? He's a man.
I mean, binary for as a superhero name.
We still get Spider-Man. Why the fuck we can't have Meteor Man?
Yeah.
No, I'm just asking. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying you might be saying there's something wrong with it. I'm not saying. I'm just curious.
Oh, Nerdman, did you read the most recent Black Panther?
Because they've got pronouns, but do they have the? Sorry, go on.
Did you read Black Panther issue number 4?
No.
You have no opinion on the new trans character in Black Panther?
Oh no, I haven't heard about them.
Okay, never mind.
No. Tell me.
Hold on. Do you have an issue with it too?
I want to hear K-Dot's opinion. I have a review.
I seen. Well, he's a guy who King Lion. He reviews comics and stuff. So he reviewed it. I didn't read it, but I had no issue with it. I mean, I kind of liked how it was handled. It wasn't. It was to me. It didn't feel like it was that territory of too forced. It kind of felt organic, and I liked the way T'Challa kind of interacted with the individual. He didn't. He kind of treated like, oh, okay, shit. He didn't act like it was some foreign shit. He kind of made it seem like, well, it is what it is. You're that cool.
My take on it, you see my review of it. I did two. I did one long form review and one short term form review. It takes a page. A comic is 20 pages long.
Yeah.
If we're dedicating a few pages of the Black Panther comic and we understand the need for this character's representation and the value of this character, and if we're using it to promote another character, introduce this new character, and then spend pages talking about the backstory and then reveal it, and I'm like, I'm just gonna sit here and go, okay, why is this more important than the Black Panther? Now the story isn't complete, of course. You know how comic books always write in 5 issues and then you can put it in the trade paperback and then they'll start a new story arc. So we're at the 4th part. I want to see what they do with the character and how relevant it'll be to T'Challa, because if it closes out and it's just like a writer just put a trans character for the sake of doing trans community activism, for the sake of normalizing the appearance with no real deep kind of Black Panther related issue, then I'm gonna notice it and I'll call it out. But I am calling it out already.
With this, though, because wait a second, you have normal character. I say normal. Sorry, you have men and women who just turn up. They don't have to necessarily always have like some specific, important, significant reason. Why can't you have a trans character just show up? It was one of the things that I got.
Can I answer?
Yeah, go on.
The reason why is when those other characters who are not trans, when they just show up, they usually don't get 2 issues of backstory from the prior comic, a couple issues here explaining, hey, you're not normal, you know what I mean? You're a heterosexual character. So page count is being spent on this character.
All right, fair enough. But in the end of the day, I do think that you have characters pop up who, are important for, a few comics or 2 comics or something like that to the story, and then they kind of fade out. It's that's a common thing in comics. Like, you can't say every single, even Batman, as big as Batman is, right? Like, or Spider-Man, not every single comic has been like, some of them would feel like Batman or Spider-Man are almost secondary characters in that story because it's like about like a little boy or some whatever in who Batman's trying to help, but they like spend a lot of time on the kid, right? Showing the kid's life in Gotham or the kid's life in New York that Spider-Man's trying to like help. And then Spider-Man is you almost see Spider-Man or Batman from their point of view, right? In some of those comics.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that's abnormal, right? One thing we should talk about, because I do have to leave soon, that I don't think any of us have talked about, is that freak out that this fucking. Can we react to that?
What freak out?
This guy had about this computer game. I thought that
was
the
bald guy. Dude. The bald guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We should have seen when we did that on the OOC. We talked.
Yeah, we could talk about him real quick.
Can I just see that fucking fat idiot? What, like. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. This guy is like criticizing these people as if the sense of complete entitlement that these people have, just because they fucking buy a product or buy a game. They don't have to buy the fucking game. They don't have to buy the product. They can put whatever the fuck they want in it, right? As long as it's legal and it's not promoting fucking hate or violence against people, they can put whatever the fuck they want in their game.
I see Nerdman.
It was so baffling to me, this guy's fucking, but it isn't at the same time. These are the guys who go, oh, there's a black person in a movie, it's woke. There's everything's woke these days to these guys. But in any case,
I wish. So one thing I noticed is that without the hateful anti-crowd, there's a lot of things I wouldn't know about. Like that scene, that video that K-Dot's pulling up now, I would not have even known about this video game settings,
But it's exactly, they said, and it wasn't like you have to play as this character. It was just an option. I from what I heard,
No,
But
no,
the way
it's so
these
it's
guys,
so it's
the way
literally well,
these
wait,
guys
let me
about these,
explain it real quick because I played the game. Well, I'm still playing. I'm about to play it after the stream. It's basically just asking you if you wanna let the game know you're a male or a female because it's an RPG. So there's dial. For example, I have the option to get parents, right? So my parents call me son, right? I wouldn't want them calling me, "Hey, daughter." I mean, because personally, I'm playing as a male character. I want to be called as a male. So yeah, I let the game know that my sex is male. Like it's an option. Hell, if you're a guy, you can play the game as a woman if you want to. It's up to you. They're just asking you what do you want to identify as because that choice literally lets the game know, okay, they're a male. We got to call them a male when we refer to them. They literally will
right?
characters will refer to as he, him, she
And
because
this
they're trying to
fat
identify you.
fucking like looked like just this complete idiot. Like
Looks like a fetus.
he's there talking about the creators of this game, calling them idiots, they're nobodies, they're pieces of shit, and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, dude, they made this game. They clearly have more skills and more fucking intelligence, more creative ability than you have in your, like your fucking woman-sized tits. It's like it's so fucking baffling to me. Like the level of entitlement. Like, he's calling these people a bunch of fucking dumb losers and this, that, and the other. It's like, no. Anyway, sorry, go on.
But see, regardless, he's still playing this game anyways because this game,
yeah, exactly.
You literally got to invest hours into it. And me personally, right, for video games, because it's different from watching a movie. I'm not going to invest more than 20 something, like maybe even 10 hours into a game. If I'm playing for more than 10 hours, I should already know by then if I want to play this or not. But clearly, since it made him rage quit and he's still playing it, that's the funniest thing about it. Like this game caused you to rage quit and you're still playing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I understand if you gave a criticism and it was very slight, like yeah, I didn't like this part of the game, kept it pushing it and still wanted to play it. But the fact that it made you rage quit and you're still playing it is insane. It doesn't take that long to realize a game isn't fun. You can realize in the first 2 hours that you don't like the game.
Not liking something and just not watching or consuming it. What has happened to that? It's as if like we're living in some, like the way he was screaming his head off is as if we're living in some fascist regime where they force you to play the fucking game. Like they go, oh, this is the new game, everyone has to play it, right? And if you don't play it, you're gonna be put in jail or something. That's the way he was screaming off his head, like about this fucking stuff. It just made no sense to me. Just don't fucking play the game. Are there not games? Am I wrong? Am I missing something? Are there not games where that isn't an option?
I mean, in most, like for example, Saints Row, if you pick the fact that you literally pick you be male or female. That's the only two options you get, and the game dialogue is catered to you being female. So they're gonna refer to as she. Right? They don't, but in Saints Row is different, right? They just call you boss because you're a leader of a gang. So that's how they
sure. But
from saying
in the majority of
games, you an option.
In the majority of games these days, is it not the case that most people, most of the games refer to only two genders? Am I wrong? Maybe because I don't play computer games anymore.
There's many that did have other options.
Unless it's a custom creator game, but there's been some games that have like been so crazy with the customization that you can like create your little hybrid of a person if you want.
Sure.
That's if the games have
I'm sure there are games like that. I'm sure there are games like that, but I'm saying the majority aren't. Is that?
Yeah. The majority is either going to pick the male, female protagonist or some like random creature thingy or whatever, depending on the game.
Right,
but. So it's usually just male or female.
So again, what's the issue? Just don't buy that game. Buy another one. And I know
that's not how Google ad revenue works. You're supposed to make money off this YouTube thing.
Didn't Howard's Legacy use only they them pronouns in this guy? No, I don't think Hogwarts did. Yeah, it definitely have it in it. If J.K. Rowling was in it, she doesn't care about the they them pronouns.
The people mad don't care about they them pronouns. They want to be able to create a viral moment. Let me take off my headphones here. Maybe this will get shared around. All right, I want attention. Look at me. Same thing with the writer of the Black Panther comic. I read that comic, never knew that they had a trans character. And then the writer said on social media, by the way, did you know that this character was trans? And then, like, when you read it again, you're that. No, but that's the reason she did it. She did it for the attention.
That shit pisses me off. If you're gonna have a trans character, make sure it's explicit that they're fucking trans in the thing.
Well, they invented a new word in Wakandan for the word trans.
Me after the fact that the character's gay or the character.
So wait a minute, hold on. I just got back. First of all, I want to know: did you guys determine that Russell Brand was guilty, and have we thrown him into an Antarctic gulag or something? Is that done? Okay, so we can move on then.
Yeah,
we move on then. Okay, so what's this? Wait, so Nerdman, are you suggesting that everybody label themselves? Put a little a pin on there, like I'm Jewish, I'm trans, I'm gay.
What I'm talking about, that's not what I'm talking about. If you want to do a thing where you don't know the sexuality of the characters, it's never mentioned or whatever, fine. Like, if it's not important to the story, then there's no point mentioning it, right? But what I dislike is people coming out after the fact of the film or the whatever.
Yeah, exactly. The comic book didn't get enough attention, Nerdman.
And then
Nerdman.
Oh, that character was gay, right? It's like if you're fighting for that kind of representation, then have the representation. Don't tell me in an interview as if that gives you some
to say it in the movie. Yeah, I see your point. Just be upfront about it.
But do you think it needs to be highlighted that way, though?
No, not. It could just be a subtle thing, but at least let it be a subtle thing that this is
it's impossible,
right?
Because this is a comic book space. If you're trying to draw a male or you're trying to draw a female, you're gonna make that person look like a male or look like a female. We're not gonna know otherwise unless someone has to explain it to us, or they can say, when they say like Wolverine, and then it'll be like Canadian mutants. And then it'll have like subtitles. Sometimes they have that, the character appears and they give a little briefing. They can also mention it there too.
Sorry, Mike, what were you saying?
No, I hear what Chill's saying, and I don't necessarily disagree. But I think that, if you're trying to normalize something and make it just common or whatever, I think by highlighting it, it doesn't normalize it because you're bringing attention to it. Even though if you just want to be what you are, you should just be that way. You shouldn't be like, hey, I'm special because I'm this or I'm that. Like, you're part of the human race.
But the point of Eve Ewing, the writer of the comic, the point of that social media post was, you're talking
about social media? Wait, explain.
Oh, you got to start watching my videos, bro. So there's a post online where
I give you money. I don't need to watch your videos too, man. Come on. Either money or I watch your videos. Which one?
I'll take the money.
You can give me money.
Oh, Nerdman, I've been trying to get you canceled for 3 years now. Stop it.
Bro.
Go ahead, Chill.
What's the point? I'm done.
No, go ahead. Wait. So who's the trans character? Wait, in Black Panther?
Besa.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she looks good too.
Okay, but just to respond, Mike, they've had straight characters who they'll mention their girlfriend or their wife, or they'll kiss each other or whatever, and that's just fine, and that just goes on in these shows or these films or comic books or whatever. But then when it comes to the gay person, it's like, oh, we're not going to really show that, they're not going to talk about their boyfriend. They're not going to do that. What we'll do is we'll mention...
Gay is not trans.
We'll kind of make
it's a false equivalency, sir.
What?
You're talking about... Because you said gay, but this is trans. This is like when you draw...
Yeah. Trans as well, sure. I'm saying...
No, they're way different, though. There is no trans character kissing another character. For the examples you cited, it is different.
They treat the characters the same. You're not going to tell me that if you're trans, yeah, like you're never ever going to talk about it, even
Wait. I got a perfect scene. Look, if you're going, because I don't fully disagree with what Nerdman's saying, because I'm like this with a lot of these things. Look, if you're going to introduce a gay character and you want to make it obvious that the character is gay, just go ahead and do it in the movie and say it. But you can also do it in a subtle way like this right here I'm about to show you guys, where anyone could pretty much figure out, oh, they're implying that they're lesbian or something.
Oh, the same thing happened with the Black Panther comic. Something similar to this, where we go into the backstory.
So this is a short clip from Power Rangers 2017. They're having a campfire moment. The characters, mingle and get past their issues and stuff. But I'm just play a small little clip real quick.
Is she gonna say I?
Worry about my relationships.
Boyfriend troubles.
Yeah. Boyfriend troubles.
Girlfriend troubles.
I'll just say that shit. Like it's kind of forward and direct, but it's subtle.
It's not subtle. That's not organic.
That was so forced and so bad.
There's not going to be a way you can subtle.
That wasn't so subtle.
God, that film is so bad.
But
hold on, wait. Power Rangers 2017.
They've got less problem putting lesbians in these things than they do gay men. By the way, I'll
put it this way. I'll put it another way for you, K-Dot. That movie is a 2-hour film, and that was a 25-second scene, right? Out of the 2 hours,
that film was tight as well until it fucking. But anyway, sorry.
The percentage of the pages in the comic that went to this basic character was larger than the percentage of time that the movie took during that scene. You get it?
Yeah. And well, when I say if you're gonna introduce like that scene, like it was short. Like it's not that dialogue there. Like that whole conversation is even about her boyfriend stuff or her girlfriend problems. It's literally that's part of her issues that she's airing out. It's quick. They said it and then they say the other stuff. Right. The chunk of the movie isn't about it, but they made it clear. Okay, this character is lesbian. Boom. Moving on. We wanted to make her lesbian. Okay.
Hey, do we all agree that the writer was hate farming? Was like, yo, let me just throw out this bait and see if anyone, because no one's reacted to it. Nobody did a video about it. Nobody talked about it on Twitter. And then so she said, did you guys notice that I made this character? And that's what this word means. And then we're like, okay.
Because you want to know what it is, Chill? You want to know what is, Joe? Those Black Panther films. Freaking Ryan Coogler. You're not getting these people to go read those comics. You had one job.
Thank you, Kata.
No, I think the problem is that they're so dumbfounded by T'Child that they didn't notice any other things. Because there's this narrative propaganda on from some YouTubers, #recast T'Challa, and it's just they just didn't notice what was going on,
T'Child. Shazam 2, same thing as well. They put a gay character out of nowhere. I don't call that out of nowhere.
Mike, have you still not seen Shazam 2?
I have not.
See?
You know what? Let me actually bring up that scene. Let me see what y'all think.
That's why I'm.
That might even be
he's a fan of the Shazam character. He liked Shazam 1, but he's such an MCU fucking diehard.
See, but at least I'm not on here saying that I saw it, and then when I only watched like 5 minutes of it, like you do. Or I watched Supergirl season 1, the first episode. You had us believing that you watched the entire season when you only saw like 15 minutes of one episode.
What are you talking about? I saw the whole season.
Pepperidge Farm remembers, dude. I remember that stream you were on there. No. It was like there was a debate.
You decided to interpret that how you wanted, bro.
Oh, no. This ain't no gay thing. I know what I heard, okay? I heard what you said.
I said I'd watched season 1 and I liked it. And I'd also watched a number of episodes from all the rest of the seasons. Like the Red Sun episode.
Revisionism isn't going to save you, okay?
Superman was first.
No. Don't try to rewrite history, nerd man. It don't work.
Yeah, like I actually like the way it was done here.
Oh,
I mean, it kind of made sense for the moment. Damn, look at them titties. God, Billy's mom was woo. Billy's mom was something else in this movie. Shit.
Did you really go to this just to bring that up?
Well, no, it's
Yeah,
not.
why are we
Cole, it's
doing
just
this?
not about the titties. I just did. They're right in front of my face. I had to comment on it.
I said, don't freak out. Look at me. It's Billy. Rosa, it's Billy, okay?
Nice internet.
Starlin, that's Mary.
Yeah, why are we
can't hear it.
dude? Out of context, this doesn't look good. To be honest, it's only in context.
Out of context, it's not even. Well, yeah, we gotta watch the movie, but in context,
Yeah,
it's not
like
even.
if you just play it.
Well, I
like
mean,
this,
if someone
like,
stops it before the dragon shows up, then yeah, it's out of context.
Shout out Jonathan Major's girlfriend.
Figured it out.
And then Pedro, just normal Pedro. Guys, this is no time for secrets, okay? We have to tell him the truth. We're superheroes. I'm gay. Yeah, we know, bud.
Okay. Are you alluding to the natural like exposition of that? Again, it's the same thing I said with this Power Rangers movie that
Oh
at
no.
least
Well,
a short amount of time.
Wait. Well, you seen the movie, right? Because in context, I mean, a dragon's about to kill them. They think it's their final moments. I mean, you know.
Well, when
In
you
the
have,
context of this, it makes sense.
no, it doesn't. In Warner, this is all I see is Warner Brothers' little pie chart of what every movie needs to cast. This needs to be represented. This needs to be represented. And so we gotta let people know that a character is gay. How do we do that naturally? We can't, because this character. It's not like the movie is like a love interest movie, like where it's obvious, right? Where the plot is at. Just make him say these things. We'll allude to him watching a magazine earlier in the movie, and then that will say a line like that. It's never natural. I can say that it doesn't take time for the movie, and of course, everyone has their cause. Everyone puts things in their movie that they believe in, even though if it doesn't have anything to do with the story, right? Like, I'm sure if I looked at a George Lucas Star Wars film, I could see something Japanese that he really liked. He's like, I'm gonna put this in my movie. No real reason why, right? But my point is just that it is never natural. It is always, it is an identity that you actually need to explain things. You actually need to take time from the story to get into it. And unless the story is, yeah,
that's true, Joker. They did set it up. Well, that's the thing about it, because the character, this character Pedro, it was set up in the first movie. It was hinted at, and then they just like, all right, we full blown confirm it.
I think it's a double-edged sword. I don't mind the way they did it. I think it was okay executed, but I just think the characters in general needed to be developed more. You know, you had the first film. You had the first film. Now you've got the second one. They're a team. They should have just focused on building them as a family, and that be his issue or his, you know, like whatever he's going through. That would have been nice to see, as opposed to just focusing on one kid, you know, like who isn't even Billy. Like,
okay, there you got to my point. This isn't the main character. If Warner Brothers is really down and they think that this is worth a worthy cause, instead of doing, well, every film is going to have the 10th character in their casting be a gay identity. Why don't you just fund a film, spend $100 million on the budget, make the lead character of that identity, whichever one of their selections, and act like you're behind this and see what happens. Like, why are we acting as if they're doing something when they're really not doing anything at all? This is the Shazam movie. It's marketed as the Shazam movie, and there's a 10-second scene.
So I'll say that I agree with Joker's Corner there on his comment as well, but it's more a general critique of the movie and how they didn't develop those characters enough. But I don't think the movie could have done anything. And the only reason I say that is because, you know, I think the criticisms of the movie are way, way, way too harsh. And I just wish they had have recognized, as a Warner Brothers movie, as a DC movie, now you have to do so much just to be acceptable by like a bunch of people who are already pre-hating on it, i.e. the Snyder, you know,
Rose. Wasn't the movie 2 hours, 2.5 hours anyways?
Nah, it was
Well,
less.
it was 2.5 hours of really good stuff.
Well, no, but
It
I'm
was
saying, but
kinda
no,
like-
because you're sitting here, Chill's saying, you know, and I don't necessarily disagree with, you know, making a main character or whatever, letting them be gay and all that stuff. But like, this is the supporting cast. This is the family. The main character is Shazam, like,
Right.
and the rest of the family are the supporting characters. So why? Well, what's the problem with one of them being gay?
Nothing's the problem.
Okay.
I think they could have.
Are you asking me?
Given them a
Yeah.
few. You don't understand. The guy's got 3 lines in the movie, dude. Do you know
Oh,
what I'm
really?
saying? They set it up, and it's
But
like
he's a
got,
a supporting
literally
cast,
3
though. He's not.
lines in the movie.
Well,
And-
and I don't. Well, that's why I don't disagree. Because in the first movie, this is my critique of Pedro. He didn't talk enough, but to be fair, it was written into his personality where he was kind of a quiet kid. But in this film, they had him talking more as an adult than he was as a kid. That also
was the
worked.
problem.
It worked into the personality because you know he's a lot more confident as a hero, but still you could have like done more. It gave him a little bit more dialogue, just a little bit more.
Without spoiling anything of it, because I still have not seen it, did they give the other kids more to do besides Mary and Freddie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they gave them. I thought it was enough. I thought they've still kept their charm and whatever. I just wish some of the. I just think they could have balanced it more by having the kids do some of the dialogue that the adults were doing.
Mhm.
That's my main thing. I think the movie would have been just a lot better and more charming if those kids were doing some of the talking that the adults were doing. And it was a major mistake on the director's part, but it doesn't ding the movie more than like 5% at the most. It's not like a horrible decision because the rest of the movie works really, really well, I think.
Yeah, a lot of Mary scenes got cut. Like there was a lot of deleted scenes that I did want to stay in, but you know, but shouts out to the director. He made a good judgment call on a lot of those deleted scenes. But those are the deleted. I'm not going to talk about none of them because they spoil it, but he deleted a lot of scenes that would have just been extra fluff that wasn't necessary, and it would have probably bogged down the movie even further.
I don't know who it is, but we can hear somebody young on the microphone.
Close the window. That's just the children I'm hiding in my closet. Shit.
Is it a child?
That's the children in Sean's closet, isn't it?
Now, because you never know, like people don't want their kids on. I didn't know who it was on this panel, but like keep that shit private.
I heard children screaming, man. What's going on, Sean?
Nah, it's a little playground area near my place. So you know.
Oh, that's why you moved there. Okay.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Well, guys, and enjoy this little, intermission. Bluey, don't do something. Shit. Gosh.
Was that real?
No,
no, that dialogue is real, but that's not what he's saying.
Yeah,
150%, man. And it's because half of the critiques of the movie, I know there are people who genuinely don't like the movie. There are, like, I believe Onzo, I believe like certain other people who just genuinely don't vibe with the movie. But half of the critiques are people who hated the movie before it came out, and it was because of whatever reason, because they're,
but did those half of the people hate the first movie too?
No. Well,
I think
Snyder stands for sure dislike the first movie.
Yeah. And
but
the reason they weren't as vocal about it is because at least there was a hint that the Snyderverse would come back. They still had that belief, but now it's got to just this toxic level of you don't even see them anymore. Maybe it's because I'm off Twitter or something, but I don't even see them.
Well, it's not even just Snyder stands but it was people that did like the first movie that didn't, and that's just a weird part. There's people that did like the first movie but didn't go support this, but it's like And the stuff they're critiquing it for, they're like the first movie for, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
Like
it was
pretty.
silly.
If it was a different movie tonally, like it was some like Dark Knight version of Shazam, and it's like a total disconnect from the first. Okay, I understand the criticism. It's some totally different shit. It's like Thor 3 for the Thor
And
franchise,
K-Dots,
but it's the
I
same
actually
shit, just upped a little bit more.
K-Dots,
being
I actually
consistent
think
with
you're
what it
right
is.
now. I think it is better than the first movie, and or at least it's on
appreciate
par with the first movie. And it's probably like my third favorite DCEU movie. Like, I still got Zack. I know Mike's not gonna like this, but I still got Zack Snyder's Justice League as number one.
That's
Wonder Woman number
ridiculous.
two.
That's
Zack
ridiculous.
Snyder Justice
Yeah,
League
it's
better than
okay to
every
be
MCU.
wrong.
And then
Zack Snyder Justice League better than every
I think
MCU.
that's the one thing I agree with Nerdman on is Justice League is still the number one. Zack Snyder's Justice League.
yeah,
I think I agree with that one too. I might need to watch Aquaman 1 again. But yeah.
I can name like 6 films better than that.
you liked it as well, right? Chillmonger, you like?
Wait. I'm sorry, James Gunn's Suicide Squad. And I'm not saying that to be antagonist, but that I liked James Gunn's Suicide
Yeah,
Squad.
that's number 2.
I didn't like it.
That's
I
number
know.
2.
I think it's okay.
Oh, come on,
I think
man.
it's
You know
okay.
James is the best one, right?
And
Better
that's
than-
better than Justice
I-
League.
Actually, now watching Guardians 3, I know why I think that movie is so subpar, because he clearly was focused on Guardians 3, bro. Clearly.
Nah,
Yeah,
That
he even
movie-
cast
nah. He put heart
That
in the
movie's great.
Suicide Squad, nerd,
And it's
man.
like Suicide
I
Squad
saw
was-
the heart. It
Yeah.
was there. He literally put his soul into that shit. Right? I
I
saw
don't
it.
see that, man. I think his soul was in Guardians 3.
No, he put
Nah,
soul
man. He pulled
into,
his soul out of Guardians.
and then he put
You
even
can't
more
tell me
soul.
that
He put
his-
even more soul into Peacemaker.
Can I just say, you can't tell me that Suicide Squad is better than any of the Guardians movies. You can't tell me that.
It's better than
It's
2.
better than 2. Absolutely.
It ain't better than 2.
1 and 3 is a
Absolutely.
debate, but it is better than 2 for sure.
It's better than 2.
I don't even think it's better than 2. At
Yeah,
best,
it's
I'll
better
say
than
it's
2.
on par with 2.
Oh hell no, nerd.
Because I don't think
Don't
I
make
don't,
me
I
pull
don't
up that,
think
that
it's
shit
like-
with
it's not
drags
the
in his
worst
nipples.
movie
I
ever
can pull up
made,
the
though.
thing with drags in his nipples.
My
And the whole
nipples,
Suicide Squad
yeah, it
kills
was so
that second
stupid.
film.
There were jokes like that in Suicide Squad. What about that
But
joke
they were
about
funny. They were funny.
they
in
were funny.
Suicide
You,
Squad.
oh, I
Right?
need to go
Because
number two.
what
I need to go number 2. Harley Quinn said, "Oh, it's a pretty girl saying she needs to go for a shit." Hilarious. Come on, bro.
I don't even remember that, but okay.
But nah, Guardians 2 had worse jokes than 1 and 3.
Absolutely.
Even and some of those jokes came at even though the jokes in Guardians 3 slightly did help Drax's character, like give him a good conclusion, those jokes really did hurt him in 2. They made him look super weak, even dumber than before. Like before, it was just, he was like he didn't really understand stuff, but they just totally embraced back like, damn, he's literally just a dumbass.
Dummy, yeah.
He's literally
Sancho.
just dumb.
And then he
I'm not saying
saved
he's to be
him.
a genius, but they literally just made him dumb. He's
Yeah,
just
and he
dumb as shit.
he ended up saving him in Guardians 3, making him a little bit more,
Joker-
sympathetic.
Yeah,
But
exactly. I can't say that Suicide Squad is bad per se, because I thought the story was okay. But it is just the humor. I don't like that humor. So in that sense, you're right. I don't hate the movie. It's just when people say it's the best of the DCEU, I'm just like, that's some bullshit, bro. Not better than Shazam. What?
Nerdman doesn't understand humor, I think, is the problem.
no, he doesn't.
Hey, we should actually do a we should do a stream ranking spoof movies. Not just the scary movie ones, but like old
No, but-
ones like
but
High
the
School High and
Oh.
stuff.
Scary movie 1 and 2 is the best out of all. There's like no debating it. There's no
Mhm.
better than Scary
No,
Movie 1 and 2.
Naked
there's
Gun.
many better
I mean,
ones.
don't be a menace.
No,
is already
Scary
better than
movie.
both of those.
Airplane.
Yeah, there's many better satire
High School
films. with
High.
dirty
High School
things.
High is a very good spoof movie.
Oh no, it's not. That was garbage. What are we talking about?
Come on, that was funny.
No, High School High was caca.
High School High was funny.
No, it was caca.
the Naked Gun and stuff. Like, you know,
I actually made a list on it. I'll find it.
The Naked Gun's not better than scary movies.
oh no, Naked Gun is actually
it
like,
is.
it's like
No, it's not. It's not.
It
it's
is, and you know what?
below a lot of
OJ would have
things.
something to say about it too if you got a problem with it.
There you go. You see.
See? Mm-hmm.
But of course, you guys are gonna like a movie with a black dude that killed a white woman.
Hell yeah.
But see, I don't think he did.
All right, on that.
Oh, you see, wow.
I'm gonna be out anyway. So
yeah, we're gonna close up in the next
guys.
2 minutes anyways, you know what I mean?
peace, guys.
Alrighty, guys.
Peace, nerdy.
I think I may have interrupted Joel. Tell him sorry. I didn't mean.
I know he
to
had to go to another
Yeah,
stream.
he had to go.
I'm going to
Oh.
the same stream as him with Dre.
Oh, what stream are you going to? I might put it on in the background.
Let me put it in the private chat. You guys, me and Chillmonger will be on Dre Max stream talking about Jonathan Majors.
Oh my god, you guys, really?
Hey man, we gotta defend our boy.
This is like Johnny Depp all over again. Can you? How many times you need to say it? Just
we gotta say it every single
man.
day. We gotta say it every single day, man.
Gotta get
I'm
on.
good
not
Lord, it
going
puts
to
me to
answer, bro.
sleep.
Oh,
I'm gonna
that's
make
a
sure
nice
Kane
way
gets his
to
redemption.
promote your friend's fucking video.
But no. Look, think about it like this, right? I hope he's innocent because oh man, this shit gonna be so fucking good. Ooh,
Well, either way, it sucks anyway because it probably derailed his popularity or hype a little bit. But I'm sure
it did. But I'm gonna be so happy if he is innocent. I
Me
believe.
too.
I'm leaning towards him being in, but if he is, the content coming out of that. will be
Yeah,
everything.
and his PR team can go fuck themselves, all right, for dropping him like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he's forever guilty, though. That's what you guys don't understand. Like, this is
What?
gonna follow him around. I hope it doesn't. Don't get me wrong, but I expect it to follow him around.
Well, at least they're not censoring him like they
He's
are
not
Russell
like
Brand.
Johnny Depp, where he's built a name for himself, a brand for himself already. It's gonna hurt him more than because Johnny Depp doesn't get as many roles anymore because that shit follows him around. Because there's still people who believe, for whatever reason, even though there's no evidence to say it, that he did this stuff, right? So
Yeah,
that's the problem with getting caught up in this shit. Same with Russell Brand. He's never living this down, even if he's found innocent.
Allegations is just as bad as actually being guilty of something.
Right.
Once the allegation on you, you're done. You are done. But if you look a certain way, if you got enough money, for example, Jared Leto had allegations on him for years, and he kind of got away with it for a long time. Not saying they're true, but he did have some sexual allegations.
God damn it, Joker!
Like, I was genuinely shocked to see my boy, Ben Affleck's little brother in this new Nolan movie. I was shocked.
He's way better than Ben, of course.
Casey?
Yeah, he's a way better actor.
He's a way better actor than Ben Affleck.
Yeah, amazing. Ben
He would have
sucks.
been an
Casey's
amazing
amazing.
Batman, actually. For the
Let me look at
DCEU.
Casey's face again so I can remember what movies he's been in.
Yeah, Manchester by the
guys are
Sea. He won the
smoking
Oscar
crack.
for.
He won
it's like
the
I
Oscar.
said. When
For Manchester by the Sea.
when the
But then he got
accusations come
cancelled
out,
right after. Go on, sorry, Mike.
when the accusations come out, they're on the front page. But when you're acquitted and everything is retracted or whatever, it's on page 92 in the small, the corner in the smallest font they got.
I mean, he must have been found innocent for him to be in a Nolan movie, right? Like, because he had all these accusations. That's why you haven't seen him in shit since he won an Oscar.
Well, let me end it off.
Well, I don't know about him. I was just
Let me-
talking about in general when someone's accused of something,
Yeah.
that gets the front page. When you're acquitted, it's like in the middle of the
Yeah,
magazine.
he's been in a lot of indie stuff, like his own projects.
Well, I'm going to look this up.
Yeah.
All right, you
Like,
guys.
in fairness, he's never really done like many popular films to begin with. He's kind of always just been out there. So
Yeah, but
Wait,
he
was he
on
was
the
he brought to
verge
court or
of starting.
something? Or was it just accusations? Hello?
What was the question, Mike?
Sorry.
I
There you
said,
go.
was it brought to? Was there like a court case about this, or was
I
it just
don't even know.
accusations?
I don't know about this guy. Anything will happen to this guy. So
All right, guys, we got to get ready to close up. But this is the last thing I'm saying for sure. It's just crazy, man. Ben Affleck pretty much got away with it. If y'all know who what I'm talking about, Harvey Weinstein and shit.
oh yeah, well he's guilty as fuck. Yeah.
That's why he got away.
Peace out, guys. I'll be watching.
Peace.
peace.
Yeah.
But that just Ben Affleck. Look, I'm not. I don't know what his activity was, but let's be real. He do what the fuck Harvey Weinstein was doing. This motherfucker just got away with it.
But dude, he was in one of the greatest Batman scenes ever, the warehouse scene.
Fact.
Stop it.
Nah,
So
Mike,
he could
no,
do whatever
Mike,
he wanted with whomever he wanted.
I don't even think it's his. If it's the fact he played Batman. I just think because Ben, he has his own studio. But I don't think it's the Batman popularity that's keeping people from like really looking past the bullshit. I don't think it's that. I just think people just are like they're okay with Ben Affleck and they're like, he don't really bother me. I don't know what it is. How does motherfucker get away with it? Shit. Damn, I need to learn history.
Yeah. It's actually incredible how he wasn't found guilty, but anyway, goddamn.
he was literally on the ledger. Literally, his name was on a ledger of people that can snitch on.
It wasn't just Weinstein. He was hanging out with literally everybody like that.
Yeah.
Good lord, but
Wait,
anyway,
that was before social media, though, right?
Before and after,
Yeah. Shit, he probably went to Epstein's Island too. He definitely went to Epstein's Island.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure his brother is fine, but yeah, Ben though. Yeah, but I mean, if you haven't checked out his films though, definitely do so. Like Manchester by the Sea. And I'll just say that lastly, don't watch any trailers for it though, because there's something that happens in the film that they show in the trailer, and if you watch it before like watching the actual film, then it kind of ruins the moment. So
First
I
off,
just wouldn't recommend
don't watch any movies Cole recommends. Okay, just
Why?
don't do it.
Also,
Because
it's an A24 film, so that's a
garbage.
bonus.
All garbage movies.
So wait, are you saying I shouldn't watch Troll 2?
Exactly?
Troll 2 is a masterpiece.
All right, you guys, we're gonna get ready to close it up. Shouts out to Onzo from Big for Entertainment. Shouts out to Cole. You can find him on Multi-Topic channel. You might be on my channel. You may find him all over the place. He sometimes on Big for Entertainment.
Yeah, well, I'm on everybody's channels, basically, just no one specifically. But besides one person, I guess.
He's everywhere. You can get him on your channel. Go check out Mike at Road Comics. He actually does have a comic shop. Hit him up if you need any books. You do shipping, right, Mike?
I do.
He does shipping. If you got the Cash App, send him that money, he got you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hey, do you ship to Costa Rica?
I do. I ship to Australia. I ship to New Zealand, anywhere.
Nah,
Nice.
don't send Cole anything.
Not Canada though. Canada, I cut off. I had to cut them off. They be
that's fine.
sending some crap down here like Nickelback and Celine Dion and stuff like that. I'm like, I can't do this.
Drake. You know what I mean?
Oh, Drake, yeah.
Yeah, listen, we sent you our worst F tier artists to troll you, but then they ended up being the best there because yours
Your
is that
artists are
bad.
garbage. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Hey,
It takes Canadians to show you Americans how.
Yeah,
to
and
get it
F
done.
tier Canadians, which shows how bad the Americans are.
100.
Look. At the end of the day, shouts out Drake. New album coming soon. Deuces.
Yeah!